Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Oddities D&D. Ah! It's over. It's all over. Oh my goodness. If you're joining us, thank you for watching our entire campaign live on the internets. What a ride. And we are here today to talk about that campaign and to take questions from all of you lovely people in the chat, the lovely people who sent questions in on Discord, everybody here at the table who we are going to introduce right now. Starting with our Aasimar, Virya.
Yes, an Aasimar, Virya. What am I saying? I'm still thinking about the peggers thing.
You had to be there, folks. You had to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my name's Ari. I am so freaking sad that this campaign has come to a close, but I'm looking forward to newer things as well.
Down from that sweet Aasimar is our half-orc Cult.
Hey, I'm Chuck. I'm a great human, and lots of fun, exciting things are coming on the way. And I'm gonna barf. Because that's how I intro bitches. Peggers!
Well, across from the Pegger is our lovable elf, Rose.
Hi, I'm Mr. Worldwild, Pitbull.
What?
Worldwide!
Mr. Worldwide, yeah!
I'll just be happy. I don't know what she said, though.
I'm Mr. Worldwide.
Is this a
Pitbull.
pop culture reference?
Oh my god.
Hold on, let me get my
Even
medicine.
Simon in the chat gets it, so.
Okay, chat.
At least somebody
We
does.
spot who are the Gen X. Okay.
Last but not least, our beloved drow, Nagheim.
Look, I actually have a guru this time.
Hey!
That's bad.
We
And
will get that sponsorship.
sadly,
Yes, exactly.
I am no longer going to be your favorite drow wizard cleric. Now I'm just going to be your favorite mask.
You are always our favorite mess.
You always were. All right. So, as we kick off this evening, this is very loosey-goosey. I was very happy to have a week where I didn't have to plan things, so I didn't. So this is very, fly by the seat of our pants here. Like I said, we have questions that we got from everybody in our Discord. So we're going to go through as many of those as we can. But everybody who's in the chat room, thank you once again for showing up. That's amazing. But if you guys have questions that didn't get into our Discord, by all means, throw them in the chat room and everybody will kind of call them out as we go along. To kick things off, we're going to ask the first question, which looks to be one of the more popular questions in our Discord, which is, Ari, why are you so pretty?
Thank you. It's a mix of the good Mediterranean genes and also sacrificing a newborn once every 3 months.
You gotta get it every 3 months on the
You
dime.
do it 3 months. Okay, I've been doing it every
Yeah,
6.
3 is the magic number, that's why.
Okay.
You think we would learn? Oh well. There you go. So, with that burning question out of the way, rollies for who gets to ask the first question.
Ooh,
Aside from me,
rollies.
because
You're not our boss anymore.
no, I'm saying I already got the first question.
Oh, okay, that's very true.
You're not the boss of me.
I was gonna say you're not our daddy anymore, but you're always our daddy.
Yes, I love that one of our first-time chatters. The first thing they heard was sacrificing a newborn.
Yeah, welcome
Welcome,
to
Wolvo.
the inside of my mind.
This is the essence of what you're getting here. Great recap of what this is.
Yeah.
So does it have to be homemade newborn or store-bought? Fine. Store-bought is fine if your resources are limited, but obviously homemade, less GMOs. So
There you go. All right, so
Well,
call out your
well,
numbers.
Yeah, 17. And I
17.
would like to say to Wolvo 2017, this is the end of campaign Q&A, so spoilers.
Yeah.
Just so
it's
you know.
all
True.
spoilers.
you've got 84 sessions to get through before you reach this point.
Which I will
Which
say,
we need for.
thank you for reminding me. all of our session is available on Twitch, which personally I prefer because you can see all of you lovely people in the chat on the replays as well, which I didn't know for a good long time. But if you're more of a fan of YouTube, all our sessions are up on YouTube as well in a very easy to watch playlist. So you can go check them out there.
Link it.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have technology.
Yeah, and thank you so much, like, to all. Here's one little factoid, like, that always just blows my mind every week. And I was saying this to a coworker of mine, was that she asked me, like, how many people we usually get watching our stream and everything. And usually anywhere between 9 and sometimes 19 people come into our live stream, which is phenomenal. And that's at least a number I can get my head around. But when I check the next day, I guess because people watch our show after it's broadcast or something like that, but not the highlight, but like the replay of everything, sometimes we get up to like 70 or 80 people watching our show afterwards. And it's just craziness to me. When I put the YouTube, when I put the YouTube videos up, within 2 weeks, some of the videos had like 146 views, and most of them had like at least 2 or 3, even like the weird ones. So thank you so much just for tuning into all that. That does a lot for, you know, the good part of my heart.
Yeah, we are far from big shots, so those numbers are very impressive to us, especially since we never really, we didn't start this campaign planning to stream it at all. So
No, not
Ooh.
at all. It was
I'll
just sort
say
of an
something.
easy way to record.
Yeah, we only started streaming because it was the easiest way we could record ourselves playing, and we tried other methods and it was so complicated, and we were just like, I guess we'll just stream.
Yeah. It's like our virtual scrapbook.
Yeah, and just so happened people actually enjoyed watching it.
Yeah.
Because even imagine standing in a room with 10 people. That feels like a lot, and that's who all comes with us every week.
Yeah. I actually,
like, whoa.
yeah, I heard geez Louise, who was it? Oh, you know who it was? I think it was Game Grumps. I was watching one of their videos and they talked about that whole thing about making that huge jump in their fame and success. And they said when they first started streaming their videos, they had like maybe 500 people, and they were like, oh, wow, that's incredible. They could actually picture that. But once it got into like the tens of thousands, they're like, they tune it out because they just can't wrap their head around it. So it's better to like distance yourself. But I like the smaller kind of viewership that we have live and just seeing the numbers afterwards, because that way it's a manageable group of people like we can communicate with, you know, and the chat goes slow enough that we can respond. We can like interact with them a little bit, you know? So yeah, thank you. That's just a long-winded way of saying so much thanks for tuning in every week. It's unbelievably cool.
Speaking of Twitch chats, because it's so interactive, I do think we're gonna discuss ways to make it a little more interactive, like redeeming points and everything, because we've had comments about how like, oh, like, is there something I can do to redeem all of the points I have since I watch you live? So yeah, we're probably gonna brainstorm that for our next campaigns.
Yes, we have ideas. So hang on to those points and keep watching.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have no ideas. I just have a smooth brain. No
But it's so
valleys or lumps,
sexy.
no ridges or
Good thing
bumps.
you're so pretty.
Yeah. Okay, but bringing it
Right,
back,
rollies.
we had a 17 for Chuck.
Yep.
Does anyone have higher
12.
than a 17?
I had a 17
Well.
as well.
I had 6.
Oh, okay. Chuck and Ari, you got to
And
fight.
that's what did Rose get?
12,
what did
I
Fred
think.
get? 12.
Both Rose and Fred got a 12.
Okay. All right, Ari.
Okay.
Ah,
5.
10.
Chuck,
go.
take it away.
Well, I'm just going down the line, and this question's for me. This is from Nicola. Hello, Nora. Love you, baby. My sweet pea, my artist friend.
My sweet cheese.
This question is for me. Why did Cult and Catalina separate in the end? Did something happen, or did they just drift apart? Does Cult find a new love after her? I don't know, but I did make some notes. I know some stuff. I think it was about 4 months before the end of the campaign. I just had it in my head that like Cat and Cult weren't going to be together forever, but they were going to be together for like a good 30 years. And it's just for a little sense of realism, sometimes people just drift apart. There was also the fact that Cult probably didn't want Cat to have to go through his death being very close, because she's a full-blooded wood elf, and of course he's a half-orc. The line of long-lived creatures people versus short-lived creatures, people, has been part of the campaign, and I thought it was kind of like a little bittersweet but appropriate that they separate. But they've maintained a friendship. It was a good separation. It was mutual. But yeah, as for does he find new love, I haven't quite thought about that yet. These are characters we may touch on later, maybe for like a one-shot, so I kind of want to just leave it a little bit open-ended. Let his story develop a bit naturally in that sense. He'll be about 50 when they break up, so he'll be like Silver Fox calls. So he'll be a very different man at that time.
Oh, it's gonna be a beekeeping age.
Of beekeeping age, yes. I study sociology and I keep bees. Oh my
and
god!
he crafts his own beer.
You know, he crafts his own beer, and the bees he keeps probably at Nagheim's tower.
Oh, God damn
It's
it.
for the garden.
The
It's for the
bees.
garden. Nagheim's. I'm allergic.
Sometimes they're like, God damn it, now I have more responsibilities.
But think about it. It's gonna be really practical for Nagaheim because Nagaheim gets really, really fresh honey for their tea.
That's what magic's for.
Fred, I love the lore that you just created for me.
I know, right?
And it's 100% canon now.
If you want like wholesome lore, I can keep creating it.
If you want to
I'm
feel ways
really
about
good at
stuff, I got you covered.
Okay,
right.
everybody but me, rollies for the next question, unless I'm not keeping my eye on the Twitch here.
I haven't seen one
I have an eye on
yet.
it.
I am.
No.
I am. It's okay.
Cool, cool,
Okay,
cool.
beautiful. 5 for Fred.
I got a 13.
Hey.
I got it raw. I got 7.
All right, go for it.
Oh,
Jason,
okay.
Jason, did you roll?
Oh shit, no I didn't.
Yeah, it's everyone except for the
he's
question
gonna
asked.
dash
6.
all of. Oh, okay. never mind.
I'm gonna dash everything? What?
My hopes and dreams of actually winning something.
No, you
Which
got
is
this.
just the honor. Okay, so again, this is a question from Nicola for Jason. There's like 3 of them, so I'm just gonna group them together. Jason, what happened to Tens?
What happened to
Jason,
Tens?
what happened to Agnar?
What
Jason,
happened
was
to
it
Agnar?
I have an echo. Okay.
Sorry.
And Jason, was it Brexus who stole Viria's ring? Which I
Got
would
it.
like to know, if possible.
Okay, that's easy enough. I can answer it. Come on, man.
You will answer it through a series
Yeah,
of
our
A
squeaks.
series of
Pets are,
squeaks and growls. Yeah, and Nora called it. Yes, that is my dog squeaking toys. I gave him all the squeaky toys because this is like non-serious kind of like hectic moments or anything. So I thought, okay, you can party, and he's taking advantage of not having the squeak toys during streams. Okay, what happened to Tens? What happened to Agnar? I can lump this into like most everything, which is something I talked to the group about after our final session, which is that I can't tell you. And there's a reason for that. It's not so much a mysterious reason, but it's something I wanted to do somehow. I didn't know how it was going to shape out, but it's something I want to do for this campaign for as many characters as I could, was that I wanted to leave the open-ended stuff unanswered, because I felt that was very true to real life. There are lots of things throughout everybody's life that we have regrets, we have unanswered questions, we have things that we wish we had actually done, gone left instead of right, said yes instead of no, all these things. And as painful as they are, because these are people that are really closely tied to the characters, it just stings that much. But I did want something like that in there as much as I could. Sorry, I'm getting jumped on by my puppy. And so yeah, unfortunately, most of the questions are going to be left unanswered because of that reason. I will say, like, it's nothing that the characters did or did not do that led to that. It was always going to happen that way. Yeah, without getting too further into the details of spoiler territory, yeah, that's about it. But I can answer, was it Brexis who stole Varia's ring? No.
Ooh, ooh, follow up. Who did it?
That's another question.
You dick.
No, I can tell you who stole it. It was Agnar.
Oh.
Yeah.
But
As a-
when though? That's
I know.
I'm just like, when would he have done that?
I did answer that in the series. You just have to go rewatch them on YouTube or Twitch.
We lived them. Come on.
Okay, fine. Why?
Why? Oh, that's one I can't tell you why. Yeah.
He's just the klepto.
But you know what? Just so we don't circle back to this same kind of question, I did read some of the questions, and I think one of the questions, I can't remember who asked it, but it also was regarding the Enchantress, Amorla. There we go. So someone asked, like, where is she? Does Nagheim and Amorla ever meet up or anything? Oh, thank you. No. I was waiting for a very specific answer, and I didn't know if it was the character just ticking off every other possibility until they got to the truth, which was that Amorla died at the hands of Waylon Brexis, just like he said. And I was waiting for, because this was something else. I knew you had means to, like, scry and locate and all this kind of stuff. And I was waiting because the internet told me that if someone's dead, they are an object. So I was waiting for you to scry on the remains of or the body of, and it just never came around. So I was like, okay. And I was so glad you didn't, because it would have been like, hey, we're done the campaign. Oh, she did. Oh, no. So it would have been just like a roller coaster of emotions. So, but now you know. I'm sorry. I killed your mom.
Well,
Or
it's
like-
just the foster mom, you know.
Yeah.
We're like an ant.
Yeah. So there you go. Okay, I'm questioned out. Next question.
Next question. Ooh,
I
I
will
do want to.
abstain.
There was something I did want to expand about the tens thing. Is what I didn't know is that Jason was going to do it, and the last session, Colt went around and comforted the people surviving the whole shebang, and like made sure. I even said he wants to make sure they have closure.
Mhm.
And then, ironically, Colt does not get that closure, and we talked about it afterwards. I was like, that was fucking wild! I don't think I said that. I was like, that was wild.
Yeah, we didn't understand her.
No, no one does.
She was all snotty and gross.
Okay, rollies.
Rollies.
With the exception of Ari, who asked
Oh.
the last one. Wait, yep, that's right.
I have a
six.
20.
Ooh.
Hey, go for it.
I got
And
16.
hey, I got 16 too. All right, Rose, go for it. Or Fred, Jesus.
So I pick a question that's for me, or if I pick a question that I want to be asked.
For the most part, we've been going top to bottom, but it's up to you. If you got one that's a burning question, go for that first.
Yeah, it can be one you asked, if anything.
Oh, there's one in the chat.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
We could do the one in the chat for the group after the.
Hmm.
Okay. I'll answer this one. Does Rose reinvent the cult? No. This one's from our lovely. Wait, oh, sorry. But
Don't
no,
die.
she doesn't. I'll try. She doesn't reinvent the cult. I think she's learned her lesson with organized groups of any sorts of form, particularly the kinds that are, you know, organized and religious.
She's
So
not
she's
even
gonna-
allowed to run like an after-school program.
No, it's not. It's not that she's not allowed. I think she's just like learned her lesson. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think anything good's gonna come from that. Remember last time it turned into like an end of the world type of thing. But I think she would, because I mean, like Rose is a wood elf, and she is very young, despite being the oldest in the group. She has a lot of years ahead of her. So I think she would try to find whatever remaining cultist is still organized and trying to like dismantle whatever could be left of the cult, but she would not build it back up.
Cool,
Good
cool,
to
cool.
hear. We don't need another
Yeah.
end of the world.
Yeah.
Absolutely no lessons learned.
Yeah.
Imagine, that'd be really funny. So,
All right.
there's a really fun question in the chat. One for the group. Who out of the party would have squandered any adventuring money they made the fastest?
Viria.
Area, 100%.
Yeah,
But-
Xander and I had this discussion regarding our epilogues where Viria and Nagheim did stay pretty close following all of their adventures since they're pretty much like faraway neighbors. And Nagheim would commission Viria to like carry out some tasks for them and pay her, and she would just instantly spend that money since she's adventuring so much. So yeah, Viria.
Well, I will say I think
Oh.
everybody asked a question, so Xander, take it away.
Oh, I guess the next one would be from Nora to me.
Mhm.
A permanent teleportation circle / door from Nagheim's tower to a certain observatory. Nagheim, through literally having the most depressed ending, is became more of a shut-in, and would only send out scrolls of teleportation to the tower when they want people to be there. They would have their own teleportation circle, but they would have it set up that you have to receive the scroll. The only person who would constantly have one would be Viria, so she can teleport back home. And it would only be after she leaves that she would be given one. So Nagheim would not have that happen, but there would still be times where, you know, the invite would go out, and by that I mean a pigeon would just appear with a scroll and then leave.
A pigeon, not
So-
a seagull?
Pigeon.
Because, you know, flock of seagulls. Oh.
I get it. I get it. I
Thank
get
you.
it. I got it. Yeah, I got it.
I didn't get the Pitbull thing,
I
so
ran
thank
so
you.
far away.
Anyway,
I think
pigeons.
the
Pigeons.
subject of birds is very touchy still, right now.
There.
And that's regarding Zin, I assume.
Yeah.
Yes, it is
Yes.
regarding Zen.
I figured.
But it's kind of like an answer to, like, if anyone's like, oh, do the oddities just come in and out? No. It is only by request of Nagheim that people show up.
Yeah, I imagine the wizard's tower remains doorless, so we couldn't just drop in.
No, I have to have a door so Viria can find it.
Yeah, I was gonna say like that's just gonna make
No,
it
no,
a
no, no.
whole lot more confusing for me.
in wizard tower, door finds Viria.
Yeah, there you go. But we do know where Zin lives, so you know, you can always visit him.
Okay, so before we get into the next round of questions from everybody, excuse me,
Gross.
I have some minor surprises, potential surprises. I'll say one, and this is optional for everybody here. When I finished writing the script, your mind kind of just travels all over the place, right? And so one of the things I kind of did was just thought about what each of you would be doing, like your epilogues. And it's strange. Like when you guys sent me your epilogues, I'm like, I called it. Like this is great. I'm on the same wavelength as you guys. This is awesome. And then I started thinking, like, what are some events that would happen in their future? So I also wrote little epilogues to your epilogues.
Epilogception.
sort of like little things, like little characters that you've interacted with, little insights into like how that looks in the future as well. I didn't, as soon as I was done writing it, I was like, well, I can't do this in the stream. I can't do that because I want you guys to have the final say on everything. But I didn't do them to detail or spec like I usually do, but I do have the briefest little recaps if you guys want to hear them.
I fucking yeah.
Okay, well,
can we get the music down just a smidge?
no, how dare you?
I'm curious, but also scared.
Well-
I'm curious, but I just want to point it out that it's not going to be canon.
No,
There's
that is
more
exactly
stuff that
right.
happens to Rose that I haven't quite shared with the group yet. So
Mhm.
whatever maybe you have imagined probably doesn't align with that. I want to point
Oh.
that out.
Trust me, it does.
I
But
don't think so.
it aligns, but I will say that it, just like what Fred said, it is not canon. All right. So maybe we'll touch on that later. But we're going to go to the next few questions here. So everybody, rollies.
Ooh.
7.
10.
12.
9. No,
So Fred,
6.
I
No,
believe.
9. Sorry.
Still Fred, I believe.
Yeah.
Question from Chuck that I really liked. What's Rose's family like? Tell us everything. So I actually just pulled up my Google Doc of everything. Rose comes from a family that is very a little bit like your family cult, except they live in the jungle, in the Riffenous jungle. They're organized society. Her mother is named Mirika, and she's honest, she's hardworking, and she always has the family's best interest at heart. Her father is named Therentis.
Oh, shit.
He is seen as the true leader and the head of the household. She comes from a household that's very paternalist. So
Patriarchal, I think, is
patriarchal. Thank you. That's what I wanted to say. She has this older sister named Punia, a younger sister named Aronia, and a baby brother named Iberis. Her older sister is married. Her younger sister is not. She's the closest to her younger sister, and she's a bit at odds with her younger brother because, well, he's a kid. One detail about Rose's family relationships that maybe you did not know is Rose was supposed to be in an arranged marriage that her father set up with a man named Rez.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh.
Did Rose
It
stab
is.
him too?
No, it's actually the reason why Rez ran away. And that's
Rose
how
ran
she
away.
met. Yeah, Rose ran away from home, and that's how she met Aerie. She was running away.
Oh my gosh. No wonder Colt and Rose are best friends. They both run away from family responsibility.
Yeah, and the reason Rose doesn't know how to read is because her family was like, "Well, you're a woman. You don't need to know how to read. You're gonna be carrying babies.
Oh, so,
what
like,
do you need reading for?"
That, like,
kind of mentality.
the past was the worst patriarchy.
Yeah, they were very old-fashioned.
Right. Ew.
That's what you get for living in the jungle.
Damn.
Not everyone in the jungle is like the house.
Ugh, so humid and
So-
patriarchal.
So humid and patriarchal.
Patriarchal. But yeah, humid, patriarchal, and the rest of her family tattoos. It's only Rose that has tattoos because that's something that happened when she was running away.
Do you want to expand on the tattoos? Like
Maybe
why
I'll
she
leave
got
that for another question and give some airtime to someone else. I feel like I'm talking a lot.
Oh my gosh, thank you for sharing. That is such a surprise. wouldn't have guessed.
All right.
All right.
Roll away.
And then there were 4.
3.
3.
1.
Oh, I heard that burp.
Thank you. I burp a lot. It's just that for some reason, Jason does not hear them.
What?
Oh. Exactly. Exactly. Precisely.
Okay. So, Jason,
Hi.
who was that cloaked man? Was it the Watcher? Did you put us in the Marvel universe without telling us?
I can't tell you.
So I'm going to assume that you actually put us in the Marvel universe without telling us, and that's what it is. And you can't
You know,
say it because of legal reasons.
Oh, well, that's fair. I am a fan of putting a lot of pop culture into the game, and little nods here and there where I can. But I have yet to do anything from Marvel, I think. Now that you mention it. Strange. But yeah, maybe I'll answer later. I don't know. Depends on how good I feel.
I'm going to go with my answer then. We're in the Marvel universe.
There you go.
Please no.
We don't have the budget.
Ugh. And we have better writing.
All right.
Yeah, I'm full of myself. Anyway.
Roll again.
So well, why don't we just like dwindle down so that like, Fred started, and then Xander went, so like let's do the 3 of us, and then once everyone's rolled, then
That's cool.
Or
that's
a set initiative order, that way we can save time on rollies.
But I like rolling.
I haven't rolled dice in forever. 11.
It's
9.
Ah!
There
Okay.
you go.
Where are we looking? What do I want to ask? Was there one in chat that we can go to, or?
Yeah, there's about 4 entries down. Xander has their questions, and Fred answered the second one already, and there's one for
Oh,
Ari.
I just meant in the chat room.
No.
Oh, in
No.
the chat.
Except
No.
questions about roll initiatives.
Got it. All right. Well, yeah, we can keep it going down the line here. That's easy. We got that. Fred. Oh no, we answered that. Ari, does
Hi.
Viria's love also visit the tower when Viria is away, or do they adventure together?
So, they would adventure together for the most part. I kind of like came up with the cottage idea as more of a like winter retreat where like they're like hard ass monster hunting, adventuring for most of the year, and then they come home to rest over the winter. And they would accompany Viria to Nagaheim's whenever she's visiting, unless they have like matters to discuss privately, just the 2 of them.
All right, Chuck.
I would ask you to expand, but I know we're gonna get to it in a bit, so
Yeah, I saw the question.
I'll just keep going down. This one is for me, I think. Wait, are we rolling?
You can go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does Chuck become his own version of Durant for new recruits, or does he try and go his own path?
Chuck being
Chuck.
cult.
Yeah, I was
Cult,
like, that's
I'm
Chuck.
I will try to have a different kind of sounding name for the next campaign. Because all my lead PCs, all their names start with a C, and I'm over it. gotta branch out. I would say he would definitely follow the path of Durant, as Durant was his mentor and he admired him so much and continues to haunt him to this day. I would say Paul would definitely try to nurture young talent and with a gentle hand guide them to their destinies. Yeah. He admired Durant. He wants to follow in his footsteps. also a divorced dad.
I mean, I hear
That
there's
was
a
an
demographic
accident.
for that, so.
Yeah, exactly.
I picked a bad time to start chewing a blue whale. I'm sorry.
Well,
Let's I think we're refreshing to rollies again.
Before we do that,
well, I did not
Oh,
read
yeah.
one. And we
Didn't
do
you?
have
Sorry.
a question in chat, but yes, go ahead, Jason. Oh, I
Yeah.
did not.
For questions in chat, I pinned them on top of the chat, just FYI.
well, Ari, if you didn't get to ask a question, go for it now.
Yeah, I'll do that. So, Broen Gazabolo, sorry if I butcher your name every time I try and like speak it out loud. So would you, I'm assuming you, this is a
group?
question for every player. Yeah, would you be averse to playing your PC's descendants?
Not at all. That was my backup character was Tens for the longest. Tens or Nell, depending on how the story went. And that was very early days backup character. Is if Cult had died, I would have one of the siblings come in and, you know, exact vengeance. But as the campaign continued, the characters became more Jason rather than myself. So I was like, I don't feel like I could steer them in a good way right now. So I came up with like another backup, which I can't even remember right now. But as for Descendants, I've always been very interested in playing like characters Descendants. I like that sort of family. That's how I played Dragon Age. Is it's all family and Descendants throughout Dragon Age. It's all this big family drama. So I really like that kind of idea. So yes, absolutely. Rosalia or James would be Cult's descendants. So
Well, that is a good segue for the first of the epilogue to the epilogues. It's so strange. Like I said, when I got your epilogues back, I was like, this fits perfectly with, you know, what I've got going on. So one of them was we were going to see how life turned out for Mavis Cultivarius, and what it was like living in the Feywild, secluded, alone by choice, and how time, the ebb and flow of time in that realm kind of affected her. You go through the 5 stages of grief, of course. There's maybe a little bit of madness, but whenever Cult would show up with Catalina and eventually the first and second grandkids, it did stave off any kind of madness from really getting in there and would kind of bring her back to herself. But she never really got past the whole loss of letting Gazog go. There's a lot of guilt where it's like she could have done something, she could have said something, all this kind of stuff. And that went on for a good long while. And then one of the most heartbreaking moments for her was when she saw her 2 estranged children, Cult and Nell, approach, walking side by side in the Feywild, and she knew Gazok is gone. Until they part ways and see that between Catalina's arm and the oldest grandchild's arm, while the young whippersnapper goes running about in the Feywild, they carry along a very aged Gazok to finally reunite with Mavis in the Feywild forever. And that's thanks mostly in part to Nell, as she convinced the armies of Singorn to use his combat knowledge, and that would reduce his sentence, like you wrote. And a proud Cult who takes after his mother in more than one ways, as his life seemingly goes on for a lot longer than he expected. So there's that little treasure too.
Ooh.
But yeah, that's one of the epilogues I had for you.
Oh, dude, I wasn't expecting to get all teary. Come on
Okay,
now.
that's really cute.
That's cute.
That's very sweet. Oh,
But it's not canon.
Big, it's canon in my heart.
There
I
you
don't
go.
care. I'll make it canon. Big
All right.
old Gazok,
Yeah.
all white hair.
Mhm.
still like shredded though because prison
Yeah.
just
Just-
shredded.
Yeah.
That old football player body.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Another
I think
round.
Gazok would get even more shredded in prison.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh,
Leaner.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Everybody, rollies. Let's see which way it goes.
Mwah. 10 again.
16.
Ah.
19.
All right. Come on, Ari. It's rollies between you and me.
Now
No,
she
she
rolls
got a
high.
19. Fred.
Oh, I heard 9. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was so insulted for a second. I was like, who am I to you? Do you deny my power and my dice?
You're just a number. No, go ahead.
I mean,
Yeah, you are just a number to me. I do work in HR.
so are you going to read the question or not?
I'm going. I'm just loading. To me. Does Vuvu still get thrown at shit? Yes. Vuvu will still get thrown at shit. If you're just joining us, Vuvu is the name of one of my axes. Does Rose do her own adventures? Yes. Rose will live a very, very long life, and she is still very, very, very young. So she will get bored, and she will need money. So she will pick up things to do for money and throw her axe for it. A woman needs gold. What? Yeah.
Gaslight Gatekeep
does
Girl
she-
Boss.
Yeah, Gaslight Gatekeep Girl Boss. Does she grow her hair back? Yes. Rose is not in hiding anymore, so she would eventually grow her hair back.
What kind of hairstyle are we talking? I ask for reasons. For science.
We're
Very
We're gonna talk
transparent
about it, you and I.
reasons.
I do have things to send you. Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe we'll see art about it. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know why Chuck and I will
know.
be talking about
We're
hair.
gonna see
Why
how
would we-
busy I am this week. I've already got one of them planned out, so.
No, but why would we be talking about hair? No reasons at all. Why? Anyway.
Outfits too.
Anyway, if anybody else wants to go.
Yep. Rollies.
Please.
17.
Ah, Jesus. Oh, Jesus.
8.
Ah, sorry, pup.
Oh my gosh.
Yeet.
Because you will eat it. So. And it's my Catalina dice.
Ah,
I got 8.
So I think I win.
Cool. Go for it.
Okay. Well, this is a question that I had. Let's ask Xander. Yeah. So, would Nagaheim transition from Showerite to follower of the Raven Queen? It's kind of like it. You like touched upon it, but it was still left somewhat ambiguous. So I'm curious.
Because Nagheim had met the two goddesses, it's not as if Nagheim would become an atheist, but Nagheim would stop practicing worship altogether. For the thing Nagheim asked the most of Shar was to keep the person that Nagheim believed to be his heart of hearts secret and safe. And because that was never answered, the trust would have, due to the depression, really, would just take Nagheim away from worshipping and focus more on the arcane arts.
So, quick follow up to that. What does that say about your cleric levels? Would you just, yeah? What happens with those?
I don't know, because it would be something that Nagheim would get rid of. Be willing to lose the ability for healing and focus more on undoing, like with one of the spells that they currently have. So it's not like they'd feel the need for it. But yeah, Nagheim would if just remove it and be 100% wizard.
Full on wizard.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Follow up on the mechanics of that. Can we roll back some of our levels
No.
and retake other levels? I mean, from a narrative standpoint, I love the idea of it. It's like, you know what? I'm not into leather working right now. I'm gonna move on to something else, and then you kind of forget how to leather work.
You know what I would do? A little bit like what they did with Fjord in his
Fjord.
situation, but they also have things for paladins like Oathbreaker and all that jazz.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't necessarily transfer the levels over to whatever other class you would be in.
Yeah, that could be abused so easily.
Yeah, but what I would do is I would say, okay, what's the kind of flip side to that? If this is like a boon from the gods kind of thing, what is it like when the boon is taken back? You know, so there would be something like that where it's maybe a little bit less to the light side of the force and a little more to the dark side. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. Theories. All right. Next question. Who's still rolling? I know I am. Yeah. Let's do it. 1, 2, 3.
15.
13.
6.
That was
That was the sound.
That was a grumpy 6. Go ahead, Chuck.
I want to ask somebody else some stuff. Speaking of oaths, this question is from Xander. Ari, do you think Viria would be nice about it or just say, okay, we are visiting some dragons. Let's go stop being depressed. We got shit to do. Also, oath? Was that a mention of an oath in your epilogue?
That was a mention of an oath in my epilogue. So yes, Viria would eventually go on to multi-class as a paladin of
Hey.
Bahamut.
Ooh.
Due to, going back to Frostbogen and keeping in touch with the dragons there because of her connection to Saphira. If I were to play a level 20 Viria, she would be a Warlock Paladin multi-class.
Very cool.
But about the whole, dragging Nagheim over to the dragons, only if they want to. She doesn't really see a reason to bring Nagheim with her, since it's, mostly personal to her, so unless Nagheim expresses an interest to go to Frostbogen on an expedition there, then no.
fair.
You wouldn't like Spain. It's really hot. You just sweat a lot.
Yeah.
Presto, 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 presto.
I mean, hasn't that been our entire game?
This is true.
Literally.
All right.
The most cast spell.
Bring it on.
Ooh, who's roll? You roll offs.
I
rolled
am
an 8.
8. 17.
There you go.
Well, you know what? I'm going to follow it up with another one of those epilogue things. So why don't you take this one and I'll just do that until I'm out of them.
Let me see. This is from Ari. Is Rose able to fall in love again after what's transpired with Ari?
I think it would take a long time before Rose is vulnerable ever again with anyone. Maybe because the last time it ended up with the world almost ending.
That old thing.
Yeah, that'll
And,
do it.
I don't
Yeah.
know, but that'll do it. And I don't know if there's enough D&D therapy that could help her.
Well, she is an elf. She is very long-lived, so.
She has a very long life, but eventually, I would hope for her that she does find love. And but that's the thing with playing a character that has a long life. I don't want to say yes or no. I think maybe she would, but I think it would also be understandable if she doesn't.
Do we think with the whole elf slow aging, dog years kind of thing, where do we think their maturity level is extended as well? The terrible 2s goes for 20 years instead of like just that 1 year, just like the teenage phase, like
it is confirmed that elves mature at the same rate as humans, except once elves get, I think, about 20, and then everything starts to slow down.
Oh, interesting.
So it would take longer for an elf's frontal cortex to fully develop.
That's why we keep saying.
You threw anatomy at me. I'm like, oh shit! I didn't realize I was at school.
Xander, actually, that brings my frontal cortex into clarity, and I'm like, oh.
But that's why we joked around a lot, saying that Nagaheim is basically a teenager, because Nagaheim is something like almost barely 50 years old, whereas Rose is 150.
And yet Nagaheim is more mature than Rose, so I don't know.
That's why I was kind of like, wait a minute.
But Nagaheim also, from a very young age, had to be. You know, Nagaheim was in hiding their whole life. You know.
Yeah,
like,
but that's just like regular
forced.
humans. Some humans are more mature than others, despite their age.
I would argue that Rose and Nagaheim have different types of maturity. When it comes to like interpersonal relationships, Rose is way better at navigating those.
Kinds.
And I think Nagaheim struggles a little bit sometimes.
I wonder what gave that away.
We've never encountered interpersonal conflicts in our campaign with characters, and not at all. Like, why am I saying this? Oh. But yeah, I think they're just different types of maturity and like emotional intelligence and things like that.
Cool. All right. I will say
Epilogue it?
I will epilogue it, but I will say, just for anybody who's popping into the chat room now or just joining us now, if you guys have questions for any of the players or myself, feel free to type them in the chat room and we will tackle them as soon as we see them. And I'm scritching a dog who just loves my fingers for some reason. Okay, you gotta go over there. Sit. So, the next epilogue. Strangely enough, when I thought about it, and then I finally got Ari's epilogue, I was like, well, this is damn near identical. To the point where what I came up with was a trip across an ocean. A young girl on a boat, landing on the shores of Isilra, and is greeted by a silver-haired woman who is the head of the clan Ardrena. And after a short embrace, the reason why this girl has come back to these shores is because she wants to become the most decorated warrior that Exandria has ever seen. And who better to make sure that she is on the path than to be taught by the leader of Clan Ardrena, Viria Ardrena. Because this girl heard so many tales about Antiviria from her father, Cultivarius. And jokingly, as they stride off to take their first lessons, Viri kind of says, hey, your dad had a sword like that. He told me it was haunted. And we just see them walking off as the spirit of Durant follows his new patron.
Oh, I love that. The only thing I would say wouldn't really align with
it's not canon.
What I had in mind. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Viria would not take up a leadership position. At the very, not in her home village. She would go back, but she wouldn't succeed in any way.
Yeah.
Well, right.
But I love it.
Rewrite because I love that Rosalia would go to train with Antiviria.
Yes,
up in the wilds.
Yeah, I love that.
Me too.
Warms my heart.
All right. Rollies. Come on. I'm switching the dice out, actually.
7.
13.
I heard 98 because too many
No,
people.
I said
Yeah,
19.
19.
and
Okay,
then
I think you
Rose
got it.
melodically joined me.
I have an 8,
Beautiful.
yes. A melodic 8.
Okay. I'm gonna answer one that kind of goes with that epilogue. This one's from Xander for me. Do your kids grow up to be little warriors? Do they adventure themselves? Does Cat let them? Does she go back to the Cobalt Soul? And I think with our slightly new written lore, Rosalia definitely goes out to find some adventure. I love that, and I would like that to be canon. Not sure about little Jimmy Durant. No? Okay, might be a little bit before your time. You know, a comedian from the 1930s. Okay, little Jimmy, I couldn't say, but Colt would neither heavily encourage adventuring life, nor would he discourage it. It's more like if they show an aptitude towards it, he'd make sure they go out safely. And I think Catalina would be pretty much similar. There's too much like post-traumatic stress disorder between the two parents that they would like heavily push their kids into adventuring. They're like, it's a tough life. We're still dealing with all the trauma. And I would not imagine that Cat would return to the Cobalt Reserve. Just because, again, that's sort of the root of all trauma. I think Cat and Colt would really be happy just with the simple life. Like, they're not far from the Cobalt Reserve. They would probably tap into it and, like, talk to them. They wouldn't completely cut themselves off. They would still be there if needed, but would be like, but really as a last resort. Do not come to us unless it is a last resort. We might help with like a monster problem, that's our business. You know, but nothing intelligent, please. Nothing that can lie to us. Or suck our blood. But yeah, so.
So basically, your children wouldn't be inclined to lie to you about going to university to go to adventure.
There would be so low pressure to succeed at anything. If they wanted to be a cobbler, they could have like, yes, we are going to be an average cobbler. We're still going to be so proud of you. You don't have to be the best at everything. It's totally fine. Just because the life that Colt and their family had, there was this press. As much as the parents were good parents, there was this push and pressure from the societal norms that you have to be the best. You have to have the most wealth. You have to have this high standing. But the family cast that all aside. They just want to live a simple, normal life.
Cool.
Cute.
All right. Rollies. Who's up? That was just the first round, right? This
Yep.
one? Okay. Here we go.
And
Ah, Jesus.
14.
I'm gonna win because I have a 1.
Have you played D&D before?
What'd you get, Ari?
I got a 10.
I got a 13. Xander.
Hey! This is a question from Nora for everyone. If your character got to level 20, how many levels would they have in each class? I believe Negheim would have 18 levels in Wizard, and the 2 remaining in Cleric would just be the leftover.
Well, yeah, so seeing as I just said that Viria would eventually multiclass into Paladin, she would Because the way I see it, she would definitely try and uphold her promise to Saphira to find every single shard of her. I just don't know if or when that would happen. But I see her as having 17 levels in Warlock and only 3 in Paladin. Like, enough to reach an oath, which would be an oath of the Ancients.
Cult Rose? Oh, the other way.
Oh, I'm pulling up my character sheet because I don't remember my character by heart. Rose would be level 19 Barbarian and level 1 in Bard. Probably. I don't know if I would give her more levels for Bard. It's really contextual to like what's going on in the campaign, so it's hard to project that into the future without like a storyline and like an environment. But so it might be 19-1 or 18-2 divided like that. Maybe. Who knows?
I think Cult would probably abandon, same as Nagheim, the cleric, without having feeling any strong ties to Timora throughout. He just kind of maybe goes on Easter, Christmas, that kind of thing. Like not quite lapsed. Like he still like occasionally goes and chucks a coin on one of the shrines, but he's not a heavily practicing religious guy. So I think doing the monster fighting, he would definitely take at least 3 levels in fighter. I'd have to look into the details, but he'd continue on with a little bit of rogue and then 3 levels of fighter. Because he is originally was a fencer. He was top of his class when he was growing up, so
You
he
know
would
what?
probably
Nerd.
Oh, he's one of those kids who does the fencing.
yeah.
But that kind of ties into beautifully into a question that we just got in chat, which is what other class would you see your character in?
By Epic Fumbles.
There you
Go
go.
see them.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
stream on
yeah.
every Thursday, and I play in one of their campaigns. So,
Look at that segue.
Sat, what other class you would see your character in? I believe we answered that maybe like in a previous Q&A, but pre-campaign Viria, I would have definitely played her as a Vengeance Paladin instead of a Warlock if I had any other choice. And then, I don't know, like, depending on the events of the campaign, maybe multi-class into something else. But, yeah, Oathbreaker. Not Oathbreaker, goddamn. Oath of Vengeance, sorry.
So I think I answered that into that other Q1 as well, but like version 1 of Rose was originally just a bard. Well, not just a bard, but was a bard and was completely different than this version of Rose. But yeah. So she still kept a little bit of that bard.
Go ahead, Zan.
I mean, depending, really, but it would have to either be cleric or paladin for Nagheim, due to like being raised believing that they were going to be, Char's right hand. So it would have to be one of those, one of the two, and it really would depend on just how, instead of being forced to read books constantly, would have, it depends on how the devotion would have went.
I think I kind of did it backwards. I always wanted to play rogue because it's my favorite fucking class. But logically, I should have started Cult off because he's a fencer as like a swordsman. I should have started him off as a fighter and then gone into rogue. But fuck it, it was our first campaign.
All right. So, who's still in the mix here?
Remaining rollers, hands up.
1, 2.
Or you can just freeball it, if anything.
Yeah, free ball.
I had an 11.
4.
Go ahead, Virya. and Ari.
With my 11s.
Womp womp.
Well, okay, yeah, here's a question for Jason. Did you have fun playing this campaign? Did you enjoy it? Are there things looking back you wish you added in, or things you're happy you added in and didn't plan for?
No.
So you did not have fun.
Not at all. No.
You know what? That's fair.
Yeah.
Figures.
We are nightmares.
No, of course I had fun. Did I enjoy it?
No.
Like, not to be a downer, but it was literally 50-50 of my enjoyment. It would get to the day of, and when we got to the end of the session, I felt great. And then that would last for like 2 days or 3 days until I started writing again. And I'm like, yeah, this is cool. This is cool. And then from the time I stopped writing until the time we played again, it was just nightmares. You know, like your head does stupid things. So I don't know how people shut their brains off. I wish I could get that done. But yeah, so it was 50-50. Lost a lot of sleep, lost a lot of work, all this kind of stuff. But I got to be creative in ways like I never had the opportunity to be before. Things I added in. This is the crazy thing, is that when I got the offer to do this and I got the go ahead, I started writing down like all the things like I would love to see in a campaign, or that I haven't seen in a campaign, or things that I've seen in campaigns that I would want to do a different way. And then I just made a list. And when I got everybody's backstories and we did like the one-on-one sessions, then I started to see how my want to do list kind of tied into other storylines. And so that was easy enough. And so, yeah, there wasn't really anything when I started that I put on the list that didn't get put into this. Because every time I wrote something, I'm like, oh, this is pretty epic. How much more epic can I make it? That I would just get bigger and bigger and bigger. So even like my craziest ideas, like there was one session that was like a side quest that, not to sound mean, but it was absolutely not for the players. It was just all for me. And that was Beaverbrook, where we go in and it's like a reverse Groundhog Day, where the constant isn't the events that are happening. The constant is the players, and the worlds keep changing all around them. So that was an idea I absolutely love. I love time travel and timescape kind of stuff. So that one was completely for me, and I went way over the top with it, changing maps, changing the backgrounds, and just, I went nuts with that whole thing. So
well,
yeah,
you should do more of that.
Well,
like,
I
not
did. It's called the campaign.
Yeah,
you know?
No, but like in the sense that like if there's like something you really want to do, like it doesn't have to tie into any of your characters' like stories.
Oh no, it wasn't that. It was just
Go-
like
go
that
for
was
it, yeah.
that was one of the big things that I couldn't tie in, and it was just there waiting to like get into the mix. So when I saw the opportunity, I was like, okay, cool, here we go. Things I'm happy I added in but didn't plan for. That's a good question. That is a really good question.
I'm great at asking questions. I know.
And I've seen this question before. Why didn't I think of it before getting asked it? Oh,
You're
shit.
great at intros, great at
Do you want to
asking
think about it and we
questions.
move on to another question while you think about it?
Sure, that'll give me an excuse to forget it altogether.
That's fair.
Until 2 hours from now, I'm like, so Jason,
Yeah.
about that question.
I mean, there's more questions about Jason and DMing, so.
Oh, okay.
So, I believe it's Chuck.
Go for it.
Oh, is it me? Okie dokie. How about this one? This might give Jason a moment to think about that. Ari and Xander, what were Viri and Nagheim's final thoughts as
Oh.
they died in battle? We didn't. It was high pressure. We forgot, and we do want to hear them.
Yeah,
We
I'm
remember.
still like so salty over being skipped over like that. No, I'm not, honestly.
Ari
even-
didn't die. Just kidding.
No, Viria's like doesn't die. She just doesn't die. She doesn't go down. She doesn't die ever.
Oh, and that question's
No.
from Nora.
So, well, I can
rollies for first read.
I can read my thing. I just don't want to make like everyone cry again.
I mean, what are we here for then?
Ooh,
Yeah.
Or how about you post
For
it in
lulz?
Discord?
Well, I mean, I can read it out loud. It's fine. Because yeah, we did all prepare a little like worst case scenario things. I rewrote mine because I'm like that and I'm never happy with my first draft. So all right. This is awkward. Anyway. So as the battlefield's pandemonium fades, the darkness that follows is almost a relief. A descending passage into those vast white plains of ice, a long graceful neck lowering to Viria's smaller form, glowing blue eyes blinking their gratitude to her despite a promise left unfulfilled. She hopes Saphira would be able to rest. A comforting decrescendo into her homeland's snowy shores, the regret over her self-imposed exile lapping at Viria like waves, Agnar and Folk sitting with her as they watch the stars. She misses her family so much it aches. A surge of longing into the night spent in a lover's arms, the notion that after Thorndyke and before the oddities, Viria had been cared for, the guilt that she was leaving Quinn alone eating at her. She wishes he moves on. A return to tranquility into Drina's sleepy square, a half-orc's awkward candor as he sits by Viria uninvited. A wood elf's smile, a rival to the sun itself as she plops down next to them, a drow's reserved tranquility as they glide over to join them. Viria sleeps.
It wasn't that bad. Come on.
No,
very
but did you
sweet.
not notice that the description were also aligned with the description of our emotes?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was brilliant.
It really was.
Thank you.
That was so cool. You're so cool.
No, I'm not. I'm lame.
Yes, you are.
You're so cool, Brewster.
You're so cool.
Xander.
Hit us.
Okay. As the darkness encloses onto Nagheim, they finally relax. The stress and the pressure they have always felt is finally over. Their knowledge will be safeguarded in the afterlife, and they will stand beside Shai, keeping their most prized secrets locked away. The things they wish they could have done, the secrets they wish to have discovered. The life they wished so badly to have was gone, but at least peace had finally come. Mother of night, darken my steps as I walk away from the light, and then darkness.
Ooh, that gave me goosebumps. That's very good. Both were very
Well, we
good.
didn't die. We didn't die. Just
We didn't
Albert.
die.
Did.
Just Albert. Too soon! What?
I miss Albert.
Yeah. We'll miss Albert.
Okay.
Sometimes when the night wind blows through your window, fluttering the curtains, you just hear, "It's crazy, yo."
Bitches be crazy.
There you go. there it is.
Yeah, that's the appropriate one.
Yeah. Okay, so I can quickly answer now that I had a little bit of time to think there. And funny enough, you gave me another one as we were just joking around there. Albert was a last-minute switcheroo. So everybody who has watched the finale there, or the battle, there was a moment where it was possible that the party could potentially TPK, and that happened. And it sucked, for me at least. But I had it in mind a few sessions before that as the group was leaving somewhere in Western, Cult bumped into an old man, or an old man approached Cult and said, "Oh, you dropped your lucky coin here." And it was the coin of Tamora. Secretly, that individual was supposed to be Tamora in disguise. And as we got closer and closer to the event, I thought, well, that's kind of dumb. Because even Cult has said, like, I don't have faith, it's just because I'm scared. And so it made less sense to have that happen. And also, I thought if the players lose this fight and are to come back, it has to mean something. There has to be a weight to returning. There has to be some give to the take kind of thing. And then very, very last minute, I realized like, oh shit, what if it's Albert? And so I made the switcheroo and it worked a lot better. I think it hit a lot harder and it just fit because, yeah, well, you guys saw it. So, but before that, the other one, very similar to the Albert situation, was Nell. Nell was supposed to be a very, very different character. And I think the week before we had the interrogation scene with everybody after the fight with the Raven Queen, I completely rewrote and rethought her whole thing. And she came out way better than I had originally conceived her. She was supposed to be a very militant mind, almost like Republican versus like every other person. And then I just didn't like it, and it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense for her to be so bullheaded, because she is intelligent. And so when I retweaked it and made it more like, no, she is the reality check, it kind of worked a little better. So there you go, those two. Yeah. All right. Well, we're getting close to our bathroom break, but we can throw in one more question. If there's a question we haven't read yet that's like a group question, we can do that and do our little break.
I think I can ask one for the group. One of the questions I put in the thing, the Q&As for everyone, if it's not too personal, what little nugget inspired by real life did you put into your character? So, sometimes like writers, you're inspired by yourself or you're inspired by real life and you put that into your character. So I was curious if anyone wanted to share that nugget.
My sex is different. Actually, him. The only thing missing is the big ugly feet and a dong. Although I mean, you can buy those. No, my feet are actually incredibly cute. No, I will not take pictures of them. No, I'm cult, other than being more middle class than upper class.
You just said I'm
Just
cult.
your typical awkward. I don't think I'm as awkward. I think I played up awkward to give myself time to think during role playing. And then it just sort of took off because it got like big laughs. So I was like, oh, we're sticking with this. And there's nothing funnier than like a snotty rich guy being put in his place. So I really leaned into the awkwardness. But yeah, no, cult's 100% neat.
I'd say for Viria, it'd be like, how, like, what the real life experience that kind of like inspired this aspect of hers, like how hard she was on herself, and how like she had to learn to kind of like, you know, realize that all of those expectations that were placed on her were placed on her by herself, and that, yeah, it's like it's one of the big things of her backstory, one of her big like character flaws is that, like, she decides to take up like an important position in her hometown because she's like, oh, it's expected of me when it never was. And then the whole like, well, I'm just gonna leave because they're probably all super disappointed in me when no one was. Like, she was projecting a lot, and I tend to do that myself.
Relatable, 100% relatable.
Anything you want to share, Sandra, or not really?
I don't. Thing is, I took a lot of who I was and tried to keep a lot of it off of mankind because I'm not a perfectionist. I'm not a clean freak. I am extremely emotional and like instead of holding it in till it's like just anger and stuff, I tend to just say things as it happens. I don't think when I want things through often. I tried to play Nagheim as a character who would at least try to think before speaking. So I don't really think I put myself in Nagheim as much because I didn't want to base the character off me because I could never be a wizard, let's be real. I could never do that.
I mean, props to you though. I couldn't have played the wizard. You showed up with the friggin', you backed it up. Like you had shit figured out before. I think largely you and Ari were always kind of like on the cusp of like, I think it's this, and then you'd be right, and then it was like, I'm just like, maybe. I'm just having fun, you guys.
Happy to be here. I'm never playing a wizard again. Oh my god. I'm too stupid in real life to play the smart character.
Play barbarian next time. You just hit things.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Squash, squash!
Gremlin all the time. What I should do. Oh my god.
Fred.
Oh, me. Hi, it's me, Fred. The little nugget of reality / truth in Rose is, I guess, the religious aspect. Not that I have like religious trauma, but I do come from a very religious background, and so I kind of wanted to take that and push it to the extreme.
It's the cult.
So, yeah.
Nothing less.
Yeah. I'm not gonna trauma dump on everyone on live, but yeah.
There.
Oh, that would be a difference between my character and myself. Me, hard atheist. Cult really kind of wants to believe, but no, I'm science and Richard Dawkins all the way, baby.
So.
But it's fun to explore being religious. It's kind of it's interesting. Fun is not the word for it, but it is interesting, especially coming from such a different mindset. It's just it's nothing I've ever really experienced personally, so it's like it's an area I can play in. It is a safe space.
All right. Well, with that, we're going to take a quick restroom break. So, in the meantime, everybody who's out there, thank you so much for watching so far. Again, if you have questions that you want to ask the group or myself, well, I am the group. What am I talking about? Leave them in the chat room and we will tackle them when we get back. In the meantime, you get to see the lovely emotes that Nicolanora has created for our subscribers and the art so far from Chuck Monty.
What do I have planned?
All right, we'll see you guys in about 5-10 minutes. Bye-bye.
Go piss, girl.
I forgot.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Real quick, thank you to JR the Nerd for the raid. That's very nice. And of course, it wouldn't be the Oddities if they didn't raid right when we leave. But
Right
thank
during
you,
the
thank you.
bathroom break.
Yeah, exactly. Watch our cool art. Ha! There we go.
I'll just I hope your stream went well. I'm just gonna write in a little shout out.
There you go. All right, so we're gonna go through another round of questions with a dice roll. So everybody, dice up, and 3, 2, 1, roll.
Where's my dice? Oh,
I got a 10.
Big ol' 5. Oh,
I got an 18.
now you're rolling well.
Right when it doesn't matter, as I usually do. Oh well, okay. See,
How
it
do you
doesn't
wanna
matter
do
anyway.
this?
It really does not matter anyway.
All right. So since I get to peek, where did we leave off in our questions and answers, or are we just going everywhere now?
Yeah, we're kind of like freeballing it. I think at this point, we did most
Okay.
of the top of the list.
Yeah.
Just pick whatever we didn't get to.
Okay.
If it helps, I'm at War Master Smooth's first question.
Where is
Yeah,
that?
but it's my brother. You can ignore him.
Okay.
Well, no, that I'll let
Eat it,
somebody else
War
ask that.
Master.
I see it's directed at me, so I don't want to ask myself a question. Ari. Oh yeah, did we wait? We kind of. I don't think we fully answered this, but Ari, who is Viria's love?
I love how Jack asked this and she messaged me on the side being like, I fully know who she shacked up with. Just asking so it gets asked. So, okay, I'm gonna make this as like short as possible, but here's the thing. So our good friend Nora and we were like, because she came up with her own character called Quinn, who is a blood hunter. She played in a campaign of her own. And I was just like, oh my god, he looks so good, blah, blah, blah. And we were like, wouldn't it be funny if like Viria and Quinn just banged? And so I tacked on a whole section regarding Quinn onto Vira's backstory, where after leaving Scalfell and prior to meeting the Oddities, she would encounter this annoying as fuck blood hunter. They, you know, just hook up a few times, and that's pretty much how it came to be. And that relationship evolved into genuinely falling in love and caring for each other, and so that's why she would eventually find Quinn again and spend the rest of their lives together. And there you go. Just so it's funny. I did drop a few hidden references to Quinn throughout the campaign that, you know, I get it. They weren't picked up since it was never really touched upon. Yeah, but that's also yeah, I mean, that's also why, like, Viria never really expressed interest in any other character over the campaign. Because she had a boyfriend all along.
Gross.
Yeah. I do have art of them together, but I'll let Nora share that on Discord when she's ready.
All right. With that, next question. Rollies.
Oh, 14.
What is this? What is
A
this? Like
2.
every. I got a 9.
Go for it.
15.
Oh, there we go.
I think that's you, Ari.
Yeah, that is me.
Yeah, it is.
Well, okay, I'll ask War Master Smooth's question to Jason in that case. So, Jason, what are some trials and tribulations you faced while running the game? Was there any moment where you wanted to pull out your headphones out of frustration? What is something you look back on and wish to change or wish had gone differently?
You know what? I see a part 2 to that. I'm gonna skip that. I'm gonna skip to the other one. Just typically, I don't like to like shit post or like talk negatively when I can help it on the internet. And yeah, that kind of stuff I talk about personally outside of stuff. So yeah, I'll just. There's way more good than bad. So it would be a very short answer in the first place. The other question, though, I thought of another question. How do you prepare for each game? Are you prepared for the next many sessions? Are you one ahead of the players? How often do you find yourself making shit up as you go? I do it often. Well, power to you. That one, let me try and answer this quickly. When I got the opportunity, I know I mentioned it before. I wrote down a list of like all the things that I would like to do in a campaign or just ideas that I liked. And then when I saw everybody's backstories and we got to talk, I kind of mapped out things that would work well with those backstories and things that I could do and things that I could flip the script on, which was pretty much for everybody. And then before we did our first game, I knew the entire plot, at least like blueprinted out. Like you could have like post-it notes saying this is when this happens, this. So I had that all done. And then as we played along, sometimes those would shift around, like, okay, I'm going to move this to here now, this to there. But when it came session to session, by the time we dived into a storyline or a plot point, it was already done. So every game, I would look at what was coming up and just fine tune it a little bit more. So by the time we got to the very end, the cliffhanger of somebody's story, it was as pristine as I could possibly do it for a guy who has never done this before. But I've never let anything just go, except for there are moments where I kind of sit back because I've kind of laid the groundwork for what's going to happen, and I let the players kind of do what they're going to do. So there's always a session out there where it's just like, I don't write anything until the next bullet point, but let's see how they react to it. Let's see what they do. And I just play off of that. So that's where I developed any kind of skills for improvising and all that kind of stuff. But the big things, I never wanted to just get to a big hyped up moment and be like, just like not have anything to make it impactful. So I always had that stuff in the pocket and ready to go. But getting there and how they went about it, that was always something that I wanted to leave as much to the players as possible. Yeah. So I never felt like I was unprepared for anything, even if I didn't sit down or write anything by some miracle. I at least had the footnotes and knew which direction we were going to be going with the story. Yeah. Other than that, I think I answered the question pretty well. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It did feel like, looking back on all of it now, I'm going to relate this to a video game that I don't think Jason's played, is Dragon Age.
I've played it.
You have played it. Is that there are the story beats, but everything sort of in between and the outcome, we always had this autonomy, and we got to develop how naturally we wanted to, and that's what I really loved about how you told a story, is that you did hit all these big story beats, but you gave us space to breathe, and I think that's really important in a game.
Mm-hmm. And there were like a number of things, like I had it planned out to go a certain way, and sometimes they don't. And I think even when it didn't go that way, it worked out really, really well. But yeah, I never felt like I was unprepared or I was worrying about how it was going to go. Like once you get to a point where you've like thought something to death and you've been up at like 3 a.m. like talking into your phone about what somebody's dialogue is going to be and what a cool moment would be, and you've think about it so much that even if I didn't have a script to kind of make sure I said certain things a certain way or described a certain area, it would have been cool because I had thought about it a bazillion times before we even got there. But yeah, I did watch a recent video on TikTok. Some guy was talking about like how to run a game, and everything he was talking about, I was like, I would never do that. And it was all like, just write one sentence and then that's all you need. I'm like, the fuck it is? And I
That's more-
understand.
It's a different style for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And it's for like certain people. That is not me. Hats off to people who can do that, but no, I need at least a blueprint of like a direction to go and how we get there and what we say and what we do. Sure, that's up in the air, but I'm not leaving everything to like just chance. And if they go left instead of right, I'm like, okay, no, I can't do that. I am too old to go without a map somewhere. But I've taken up enough time. Let's go on to a different question. Rollies, who's all in the game still?
I think I am.
Okay, let's do it.
There is a question in chat, if
Ooh,
anything. Yeah.
Let's hit that one.
Go for it.
Before we miss it. Where is it? Was it Bro and
It's
Gazabolo?
pinned on
Yep.
top.
Oh, I see there. Got a fun one. If your PCs would become villains, what type and theming would they be? Plague, necromancer, etc.
That is a
That's
fun
fun.
question.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be
Not
real.
really. Oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
I was gonna say, Nagheim towed that line way too much. It still does. And being heavily depressed and secluded. But Nagheim, especially with losing so much and never having so much, Nagheim would try to still figure out ways to control and manipulate time. Nagheim would be the one to go back in time to change things, and that's by any means necessary. They are a very morally gray character, and I'll never forget when Cult was like, I don't know if we could trust Nagheim's power, blah blah blah. I was like, I am totally going to use this opportunity to gaslight the fuck out of Cult into thinking that I am great and not borderline evil.
Oh my god, I can totally imagine every time Cult like comes and visits the tower, he's like, oh, do you have ice for the bourbon? And Nagheim goes off, and Cult's just like looking through things. He's like, any secret plans for world domination?
Oh, that's all
no,
up
I
in the,
totally trust you.
Let's
all
be
up in
real.
the
If
room.
they had any such plans, Vera would just come in and like slap them behind the head with her dragon claw. That's it.
Across the microphone.
Yeah,
So-
exactly.
Yeah, two things I think I just want to mention real quick. Number one, as soon as you talked about the doom and gloom Nagheim, this music cues up, and we're like so randomly on point with our music throughout the whole campaign. Like when a mood hits, the music is like, I got you, fam. And the other, and this is really stupid. When you first started talking about this, Xander, you said Nagheim Toad, and I'm like, Nagheim's gonna be an evil toad? What? That would be amazing. So
That's what the true polymorph
Yeah.
is for.
I
Baby.
am so dumb. Oh man, oh man. But everybody else,
For
same
myself?
question. Yeah.
Yeah, for myself, I mean, there was an opportunity and an open door for corruption arc for Rose. She could have totally like taken over and just be like, I'm the leader now. I'm gonna end the world. I am the big bad evil guy. Haha. But no corruption arc ended up happening, so that's good. That didn't. That the opportunity was there for Jason if ever the need was there for it, but we didn't take it.
Well, as for Viria, I mean, in the early campaign, it was already established that despite like being very stoic, Viria had a lot of anger and resentment balled up inside of her, and she was pretty much on a quest for vengeance at the start until she met the Oddities and grew attached to them. So the way I would see her like as a villain would be pretty true to early campaign Viria. If her patron had also turned out to be evil. Because that's something hypo.
Speaking of evil.
But yeah, so patron stuff, I left all of that up to Jason. That was something I left open for him to play with. So I had no idea, like who the patron was, if they were gonna be evil or good or neutral. So yeah, just pretty much Varia without the oddities and with an evil patron would just be an angry, murdery, vengeful dragon bitch, I guess.
Also the vengeance.
Yep.
I left it kind of. I came into it thinking I wanted to be the classic rogue, but sort of flip it. Basically, this was Colt's backstory, and I didn't know if he was gonna be like a good guy or a bad guy. Like he wasn't gonna be fully evil. Just that we decided we're not doing that in this campaign. But if he were to go evil, he would have enjoyed killing a whole lot more and torturing the souls afterwards with being a phantom rogue. But I didn't even touch on like having the soul trinkets that much. But there is a mechanic where you can basically keep the souls of the people who die within the range and then ask them a question, and he was just going to be a lot more torturous. But I think that by the first time they killed a sentient being, that was like, no, Cult hates this. He loves the adrenaline, but he doesn't like to kill sentient beings. So it's like, no, let's make him troubled. Okay, and he just felt like a good guy. So
Cinnamon bun.
he's such a cinnamon
Looks
bun.
like a cinnabon. Cinnabon. Yeah, a cinnabon.
A
Is an
slightly
actual
moldy
cinnamon.
cinnamon
Yeah.
bun.
And did we go through everybody? Yeah.
I think that's everyone.
I think so. Or like maybe Jason? Is there an NPC that was heroic? Like if you had like an evil version or vice versa, a villainous NPC, how would you see them like as a heroic figure?
Well, I knew Nell was going to be a lot darker.
Yeah.
We touched on that earlier.
Yeah. I don't think so. I mean, everybody who I came up with, they were kind of set in stone. Either they were going to be a help or a hindrance. And yeah, I didn't really stray from that too much.
I think I know one.
Oh, you do?
I think there is one that we literally turned into a villain.
Oh yeah, Jeremy.
Jonathan, Jeremy.
Oh,
I
what's coming up
forgot
from
he
the depths?
existed.
Oh my God, it's the creature! Oh!
The
That guy was supposed to be
Kraken.
nothing, and then we turned it into an.
We just antagonized him into trying to kill us. But
we
you
got
know.
we got our
Hey.
hard bullying over with pretty soon in this
And-
campaign.
But it also ended up helping with huge character development between Nagheim and Viria. So, you know what?
True.
It
Worth
worked
it.
out that we completely bullied the shit out of this.
True. Yeah, Nagaheim
they-
became
it's
Varia's secret keeper for a little bit there. So
Yeah.
And it united our group because we were all united and bullied.
in our hatred
Yeah.
for Jeremy.
Do you see what I have to put up
Our
with?
common,
Do you
our
see this?
common.
Yeah, they don't like your dad.
No, but he was rude to Clea. Okay.
He
So
was.
that's what he gets for it.
It's your fault for making your other NPCs
He gets
so
getting
likable.
cleaved in half.
Oh, guys,
Respect and
For
service industry workers.
Jonathan was set up to be like the cannon fodder for your anger. So don't like. I play it up, but no, that was exactly what was supposed to happen to that guy.
So we have a question in chat from Nora. She's asking Fred, did Rose pick up on Colt being noble in the beginning, being born to higher society as well?
Immediately.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There was.
It was. I don't think it was
instantaneous.
concealed very well.
No, it was not. It was very obvious.
Yeah.
I brought
The
my
name also
pajamas.
gave it away.
The witch?
The name.
Oh, yeah.
Cultivarius. It just sounds fancy.
It is.
Oh, we didn't know
fancy.
his name was Cultivarius right from the start, though.
No, it was cult.
No, but like eventually when we also learn Cult's full name,
Mm.
Mhm.
I feel like we learned that.
Oh my god. When we were the moment
When we were
introduced to
yeah,
what's her face?
Quiana.
Quiana. If there was one NPC that got under my nails, under my skin, oh my god.
I loved how Viria and Rose reacted to Quiana's like, we're gonna give you a gift. It's gonna be a dead boar.
Still fresh. It's still warm.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh god. That was always fun bringing her out because like there are certain characters in the campaign that I wholeheartedly did not plan for. I just turned my brain off and like was surprised as everybody else as to what came out of my mouth because that was doing all the thinking. This was off, and Quiana was definitely one of them, and I had so much fun with that.
Oh yeah, she was fun.
Yeah. Where are we now? Who still has a
Fresh.
question to go?
I think it's a fresh.
It's a fresh one?
I
Fresh
believe
rolls?
so.
Okay. Well,
Sure.
before we go into another round, another epilogue. Or do we want some fun facts?
Ooh. Epilogue is
I kind of
first.
want.
Okay.
I kind of want the epilogue because they've been really cute so far.
Okay.
They've been really cute, and then fun fact us.
Well, haha, I'm gonna flip this on you.
Oh, fact.
This is for Jonathan. So, again, for everybody who's just hearing these are not canon, but these are epilogues that I came up with when I finished writing the campaign. It's not part of the story, it's just other things. Insights, we'll say. So, a year, a decade, centuries, a millennia later, whenever it happens, this event comes to pass. And to witness this event is a woman who sits on a log overlooking a home. And she sits there by herself for the most part, her red hair blowing in the breeze, and she just looks on at this one home, waiting for a signal of sorts. Eventually, she's joined by her only friend, her longest lasting friend, who is a figure in a black hooded cloak. And there, sitting on this overlook, sits this figure and Ari Dionysus. And she sits there waiting for the moment when Rose finally takes her last breath. She hasn't spoken to her. She hasn't seen her. The last time she ever saw them was the moment before she was taken over by Tharizdun. And she awoke after that fight in the burning hellscape that was Exandria after the calamity. And every day after that for a good century or so. And then walking the earth. And then trying to come to terms with everything. Realizing her mistakes, wanting to do things over. Realizing that the only way for her to die was for the Revenant's chosen target to pass as well. But seeing as Rose hadn't even been born at that time, she had to walk the earth until that time came. When it eventually came, there was the newborn Rose, and she couldn't do it because it would be meaningless. She doesn't know what she did. She's only a baby. And so patiently she would watch her grow up, waiting for the moment, and God damn it, she fell in love all over again. And so she kept her distance, let Rose live the life she wanted to live. and just waited for the day when both of them would perish. First Rose, and then soon after, Dionysus. And the only one who witnessed her true death was the black cloaked figure. That's it.
That's kind of cool.
Not canon.
I love the Revenant angle.
I would love for you, Jason, to post.
You love me?
these
What?
In our no.
Oh, point of inspiration for next campaign.
Fuck yeah.
Well
I need
played.
them. I need all the inspiration I can get. No, I do love you. I love all of you. I really do. But yes, I would love for you to post these epilogues in our private Discord.
Well, that's the thing. Like, they are all just like point form, so I never really fleshed them out because once I was done the point form, I realized like, no, that's going to take away from you guys, and this should be all about you. So I didn't even finish them. So this is just me recapping my thoughts.
I don't care. Post them in point form.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So we will move on to our next set of rollies. Dice up.
12.
9.
11.
5.
Got my second natural one of the night.
Oh, so I win with a 12?
Yeah, baby.
Let's go.
Also, if you guys are in the Discord, check out art. The partner of Viria, Quinn, done by our fabulous Nora, is posted. They're so cute. I'm gonna die. It's weird seeing a character taller than Viria.
It is, yes. I need to go back to the Q&A thing. Okay. Oh, well, here's a good one for everyone. If your characters had not met, what would have happened to your characters? Who would they have become?
Jonathan would have been alive.
And friends with Cult for some reason.
True. Jonathan would have been alive. As for Viria, I mean, it's pretty similar to what I described. Like the villain as Viria would be. Since her patron did turn out to be somewhat good, probably not full on like evil, but she would have just stayed an angry woman who just has one objective and is find like the man who she says ruined her life and kill him. So yeah, him. Him.
This guy.
Yeah, that
Cult
guy.
would probably have acted out more in a criminal manner, and probably would have needed the family to come bail him out at some point, and then he'd be trying to like make it up to the family ever since, like the black sheep of the family kind of a thing. So, there's that. He probably wouldn't have ended up as good off as he did. Just like a shitty trust fund kid. Turning into a shitty trust fund adult. What, Jason, you look like?
Sorry, I was just going through NPCs. I want everybody else to finish, and then I have an answer for this.
Cool.
I think Rose would have stuck with the circus, maybe become like an aerialist and keep running away from her problems. The circus is a good way to keep running and hiding.
I always forget that that's where we found you.
Yeah.
True.
Literally
Literally
ran away
just
with the
her
circus.
resigning from the circus and choosing to adventure with
Kicking a
three
dwarf and
strangers.
running away.
I quit. Bye.
Stealing? Didn't she steal his pouch of gold as well?
I was
yeah,
his, he was his bag of devouring. That's what she stole.
Oh.
But there was gold in it.
Which got devoured.
That guy? Xander? Jesus.
Nagheim would have either been killed or kidnapped, and most likely killed in the end to get whatever knowledge that Nagheim had into the hands of the fake Raven Queen. So, without meeting the Oddities, Nagheim would have had maybe a week left of their life.
Heavy.
Accurate though.
Wow.
Very
Yeah.
accurate.
Literally saved your life. You are welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Yeah, Nagheim would. It's really like a lot of Nagheim stories. Like Nagheim's story ends not in Nagheim's favor, no matter how it's looked at currently. Yay, depression.
Poor Nick.
Well,
Please
to add,
play a cheerful
yeah.
character next time.
To add to
You're
that
so
depression,
grim.
the character that came to mind real quick was that if it hadn't been for you guys, Odor would never have had the success he did. So that's very much
You're
thanks to you guys.
welcome.
Yeah.
He deserves it.
He does.
I just love the mental image of like Rose with like a sandwich board type of thing, advertising outdoors.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I gotta
It did
say, like,
happen.
thinking back to that, like, oh man, you were talking about like sweet characters, like, oh, Jonathan picked on Clea and we love Clea, da 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 da. That's where we killed him. And I remember like when I came up with like all the NPCs in Drinna, I got really attached to them. So when it was time to say goodbye to them and move on, I cried. I was like, I love these characters. I want to play them forever. And I don't want you guys to go. Just have an adventure in Drinna. Fuck it.
Oh, that's your job to orchestrate. Jeez.
But of course, it didn't make sense, you know?
No, yeah.
So, but yeah, it snuck out of the blue. Like, I think it was when Clea was saying goodbye to Viria, and I was just like, oh God, I gotta say goodbye to these characters. And it was just whoosh with the emotions. So yeah, don't make likable characters, guys. They
I
make
Spread
it-
them out a little bit.
I like to think
Spread
that
'em
we
out.
would visit them again.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Bad
absolutely.
advice.
Trina's not that
Make-
far.
Make adorable characters.
Yeah.
Don't listen to Jason.
No word of a lie though. I fully had it in mind that you guys would say, like, after everything, you're just like, can we just go visit Drinna? So I had a whole thing planned for a Drinna
Aw.
visit in case you guys went that way. So yeah, no, I know we were all kind of affectionate for those guys. They were adorable. Yeah, no.
Good for you.
All right, next question. Here we go. Rolling off. Who had that one? It was Ari before,
I
right?
had it, yeah.
Gotcha,
Oh.
gotcha.
First nat 20. Pew, 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 pew.
I got a 19. And I still got beat.
Sucker.
Sack of dicks. All right. Does anyone beat a natural 20?
Or tie it.
Or tie it, yeah. Go for it, Chuck.
Where we go? We pretty much answered this one. Do your PCs end up settling down?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much set. We got that. I know there's still a lot of living for our characters to do, so we'll leave that. Jason,
Hi.
since I know you this is from me.
Oh.
Since I know you pretty much homebrewed all this despite the setting of Tal'Dorei, you maniac. What personal house rules will you want to stick with, and are there any new ones that you would like to include in the next campaign?
I'll answer this two ways. Number one, oh man. Like, I get, like, everybody to some degree knows the player's handbook really well. To some degree knows the DM guide, the monster manual, all these things. And even myself, I have to keep reminding myself that they are just suggested rules and everything is situational, you know? So there will be, I'm positive there were times when we came across the same situation with the same kind of setup and I ruled the opposite way I ruled in a previous thing. And it is because it's situational. So I don't think there's any, what'd you call it? Home ruling?
House rules.
House rules. I try not to stick to too many concrete house rules other than, like, you have to roll a die to figure out what's going to happen, you know? So in that respect, I try to keep it loosey-goosey as best I can without, like, going too chaos. So yeah, I mean, I think the lack of concrete stuff will be something that I keep forward, but that made me think of something kind of, that does go a little bit back to what I think War Master Smooth asked about like pulling your hair out kind of moments. Not necessarily that this is a pulling my hair out kind of moment, but this is something I most likely will try to do in any future campaign, which is that after every big moment for a character, like if it's something that's really just heavy on a character, I try to follow up as close to the next session as I can with something just ridiculous and fun. So there were things like the balls or the winter festival or the lizard races or, you know, all these kind of things. And every time I did,
Hustle and bustle.
yeah, every time I did, there would be a character who was just like, no, I'm in my feels. I need to like, this is true to my character. I'm like, and I just wanted to yell at everyone, just go, fuck that. This is just for fun. You don't have to care so much about this moment. It's just a fucker. We can say it didn't even happen. Just have fun. Because I want to lighten the mood for everything. And then I thought, okay, the last time I tried to do something fun in game, I was like, okay, so to curtail that happening, let's make it part of the mission. So we had the whole festival in Westren, and I set it up to be like, oh, well, it's put on by the cult of Dionysus, so maybe there's like something secretive and nefarious going on in there. And I think I put that in there so that everybody would feel like, yeah, we gotta go do this thing because it's like about the quest kind of thing. And then I made you guys too focused on that everyone was so paranoid. And I was like, well, fuck. So yeah,
No one had a good time.
no, because everyone was on high alert, and I did it to myself. So
Yeah.
I'm saying this right now, just so like I don't have to break out of like DM character or anything like that. Like when we do the next campaign, if I introduce something that sounds like just a light and fun kind of thing, that's the time where we're turning off our brains and just having ridiculous fun. We don't have to worry about what our characters could do. We are just in it for the fun kind of stuff. So yeah, that's something I will
like
carry
that.
over.
Yeah, to be fair,
But I
if I
think
can
there's a
add
really-
something, sorry,
Oh.
Fred.
Go.
But yeah, if I can just add something, I think that most of us were playing together for the first time, and we also got to like kind of get a better grasp of each other's playing slash DMing style. So that's why I think that in that regard, our future campaigns together will be a lot more in tune and in sync over these types of things. So, but go ahead, Fred.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think there's something really beautiful in human, and even though like we're playing in a fantasy world, to have a character that's like emotional about something that happened. Because like I don't know about you, but like when something happens in my life and I'm feeling down, I don't feel like at a party. So if you drag me to a party, I'm gonna be moping, wanting to play with a dog. So I thought like when those little nuggets would happen with all of us, I found that to be really poetic and beautiful and cute. I like that actually.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not dissing the emotional moments. I mean, shit, most of the campaign, that's exactly what I was going for. But I never wanted anybody to kind of feel like this hit hard and I'm gonna be like, you know, emo kid for like the next like 10 sessions. I'm like, no, hold on. Before we go down that, just have a little bit of light fun so you're not in total darkness for however long. And then it's just like a little bright spot, and then we can go back to the sadness, you know?
Don't get used to that rule when I'm DMing.
Yeah.
I am here to screw you over. And it all starts with light fun. No, I'm just kidding.
Chuck said, "Get ready for pain."
Can't wait for you to try that with my.
It's
my
mutual because I'm
Good
ready to
luck.
screw you over, DM. So.
I like pain.
Well then.
I'm just in it for the
Yeah.
ride.
Yeah.
Literally just happy to be here at this point.
All right. Another rollies?
Ooh, yeah, I just asked, so you go.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
What did it get?
6.
I got a 6. What did Xandra get?
I got 12.
Ah, damn it.
So.
Hi.
Hi. Ask away.
I'll ask another question from my brother. What was an original idea you had about your character that you got rid of as it didn't fit what the character had evolved into throughout playing? Jason, as the world is like your giant character, what tone did you envision for the campaign that you may have changed as the game went on?
I think I sort of answered this, which I intended to play Cult a little bit more dark, and he was going to enjoy killing, and then in the moment it just didn't feel right, and so I just ditched that and made him like this sweet, soft cinnamon bun that he is.
I think Nagheim was going to originally start off as the wizard and then just do most levels in cleric. But as it went on, it just felt proper to stick with the wizard with how everything was going.
Yeah, it felt
And
appropriate.
Touch a little.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I felt that too with the choosing to do a little bit of cleric. Is it felt most of it is just like, well, this feels right in the moment. I generally go in without a plan. I don't know if that's obvious. That's a joke. It is super obvious. I never have a plan. I can't wait to be a DM again.
Quick, do an intro.
Reading over like my character recap really quickly here. There's two things that jump out. I'm like, oh, I didn't end up doing that. But like my initial thing was like, I wanted Rose to like speak with like a very soft voice and be very soft spoken, and I'm not like no, that never happened. I ended up using my real voice, and the Rose's voice is Fred's voice. I didn't make that effort. I was out of pure laziness, and I think sometimes I ended up pitching it a little bit, but there was no consistent thing in regards to that. The other thing is, early in the campaign, my cat was way more present wherever we went, and I think it became a little bit unpractical to always have Owl. So I think Owl just ended up staying a little bit more behind. So
Yeah.
that changed too.
We kept acquiring pets and ditching them.
Collecting them.
Like, how many
Yeah.
horses did we go through?
Yeah.
I don't even know. It's just like, no, we're just gonna rent. We're not buying. We're gonna lease.
Well, for Viria, the very first draft I wrote for this character, because instead of her placing expectations upon herself, she mostly failed to live up to expectations. Instead of a girl boss, she was much more of a fail girl. And she made her pact as a result of failure instead of like just pure desperation. So that's something that never came to pass in a way. But that's pretty much it. I think the other big thing that didn't end up to come to pass is that because she has such high charisma, I wrote her as having the potential to like develop into more of a leader figure. But nah, she wasn't really bothered to do that. So she could be very intimidating and have like a presence to her when she needed to, but other than that, she was content with just kind of like taking a back seat and seeing where things went. So.
Yeah, for someone with the lowest charisma score, I did a lot of talking.
Well, it may be the lowest, but it's still like meets the average human being kind of level, right? So
I had a 0.
yeah.
I don't know.
So you know how to
Same.
talk. And a lot. What was my thing?
War Master Smooth. Man, I ask great questions.
You do. As the world is like a giant case, what tone did you? You know, I don't know if I had a tone specifically. I just like threw together a bunch of things that I really like. I love scary stuff. I love melodrama kind of stuff. So I tried to make everybody cry at one point. So I think I succeeded. But you know, it's a strange thing, like where I said before, like, I need sort of a blueprint for my brain to kind of follow along so that the narrative I have in mind, I can stick to that. I guess the tone of it, I really depended on the players' reactions to it. So if they came out of the gate and they were all like Monty Python with the whole thing, then I knew, like, okay, I could do my story just skewed to that Monty Python kind of thing. Or if it was like murder hobo kind of thing, it was going to be the same thing. But everybody seemed to be picking up what I was throwing down, and they just kind of went with it. So I got very lucky in that. Speaking of, this is something I was going to mention earlier. Throughout the campaign, with everybody's backstory and everything that related to their characters, all of them were very, very kind to me when I took what they gave me and flipped it on its fucking its ass. I think, yeah, everybody has like something major in their life, their character's life, that I took and I did like the complete opposite, and they were cool with it. They let me run with it. They came along for the ride. And again, this is my only campaign, but I don't know if I would be that lucky with any other group of people. So that was very much appreciated to everybody, that they at least gave me that trust that we could explore what I came up with for their characters, even though they were completely in the dark with like what was happening sometimes. So that's very much appreciated. Next question. Who-
Are we rolling?
Are there still people to roll, or did we get through everybody?
I'm trying to see if we've
There's
got
only
any-
one I can see from Xander, which is for everyone. And that's the only one I can see that we haven't pretty much answered. Oh, wait, there's Chuck, why are you so shit at intros and thinking up decent questions?
Did you ask
I
yourself
mean-
that question?
Yeah, I did.
Jackass.
Well,
It's 'cause
you
of-
asked one that didn't get addressed, I believe, Chuck, for Jason. Since I know you pretty much homebrewed all of this despite the setting of Tal'Dorei, you maniac. What personal house rules will you want to stick with, and are there any new ones that you want to include in the next campaign?
Yeah,
We
I
covered
answered
that.
that.
Earlier,
Oh, okay, I'm
Yeah.
stupid.
No,
Sorry.
no.
Thank
Trust
you.
me, we're all
Zoomed out a
going
little
through
bit.
the questions and going, did we ask that? Didn't I ask? So it's all good.
No, I
And
think
well,
the last one
there's
is-
Sanders, yeah.
Yeah, Xander's. I think it's a
Go
nice
ahead,
one
Xander,
to
you
wrap
can
things
ask
up.
this one. You wrote it.
Oh god, I don't remember what I wrote.
Well, in the
It's
meantime,
the-
we do invite chat if you have any other questions you would like to
Yeah,
ask before
get 'em
we
in
wrap this
now.
up.
Yeah.
Now is the time.
Also, Jason, well, Xander finds the question. I just because you were talking about some mechanics and how you did a story, you like did a post-it note storyline, and if it doesn't hit you, just move the post-it. So I did a post-it going to post-it storyline for our upcoming campaign because I'm woefully unprepared.
Yeah. So, this is for everyone. What is your favorite quality of each other's character? And what quality developed in your character that you loved? And Jason, same question, but what quality did you find you developed as a DM that you loved?
Ooh,
I did actually read this and write notes, so I can go.
Go for it.
We'll start with Viria. You were so quiet and so serious, and just watching Viria, like, because Ari in real life is incredibly fucking funny. And for the first little bit of the campaign, we didn't really get a lot of that, but just it was like she would dangle that. She'd be just like, "Yeah, I'm serious," and say the funniest fucking thing that made me want to pee my pants in that dry, monotone way. That was a quality I liked about playing with Ari. But about Viria is how she did eventually open up and work through her trauma, and we saw lots of character growth, especially like her resistance to her patron, and then finally figuring out her patron's story and accepting that and becoming the great woman that she is. And it was really lovely to see that growth in her. Rose, holy shit, instant best friend. Her and Cult will be friends forever to the day they die. There is just a real like fun connection. Cult gets very sullen, and it's rare anyone can bring him out of it if he's really, really sad, except for Rose, because it's just genuine care. It's just there's no underlying intent or like, oh, I gotta put up with this guy. She's like, I'm willing to put up with you, sunshiny. And also, weirdly, as much as a baby kicker, best moral compass for the group. There was no question.
Right.
There was no question about it. She goes, "Well, this is probably a bad idea," or, "You know, we're good people." So that's absolutely what I loved about Rose. And then, of course, like, just the extreme tragedy of the end of her story, where we saw Ari Dionysus basically reveal that she did it all for Rose. Oh, God, it gives me goosebumps still. And Rose basically, I would kill you again. Oh my God. It really just like, it hits that good sore spot in a story. And that's also props to Jason as well, as they both sort of did it together. But marvelous, marvelous way to end that. Nagheim. We did touch on their struggle to tip into villainhood. But the fucking nerd study buddies, holy cow. Someone who is like, Colt will always believe that Nagheim is smarter than him, but it, like, having the fact that they were both history nerds and like knowledge nerds, and they both had different like fields of interest, but they could both just sit down and fucking get the library done. Because we spent a lot of time in the library. Cole always appreciated Nagheim's story is just like fucking tragic, because where Rose can always see the silver lining, it's nothing but dark pebbles for Nagheim. And it is much more sad, like to the point where I slowly realized it throughout the campaign. I was like, I gotta start treating this a little bit more seriously. Like, Nagheim is in a dark place, and the layers of appreciation that grew out of that. And it is still, I'm very glad that Veer is close by now, like at the cottage in the tower. Good, keep an eye on them. Because we don't get invites very often. And just, but yeah, but that's for the players. For Jason, get ready. I had no idea Jason was going to be this fucking good. Like, I have adored Jason my whole life. This was a fantastic way for us to reconnect as friends since the old KFC days.
Since the Darwin School dance hall.
Oh my God, the Darwin School dance days. And like, I just wanted to include him because I wanted to reconnect and, you know, basically start up our friendship again. And I was like, oh, D&D is a great way to do this. We're just gonna have fun. And I really liked getting to know Ari and Fred early on, and then the inclusion of Xander. Oh, my flirty girl. And you're so fucking good at this. Like, you're meant for this. And I was just, my mind was blown. I didn't think it could get this good. And we're so fucking lucky to have you. And you're lucky to have us. We're awesome.
Yes.
Are we? I mean, excluding myself from that.
Every group of people will have like rough edges to wear down, but we have worn each other down into smooth, beautiful pebbles. And it's just I can't wait to see what's next.
See, this is what
See
I mean.
glass.
So eloquent.
I'm not even gonna follow up with my answer because that was
Yeah.
so beautiful. I want to leave it at that.
Right?
Oh man.
Stop it.
Well, I'll be quick because I won't ever be able to top that on the fly.
I shouldn't have gone first. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'd say, well, for Cult, it's just how freaking genuine he was and like how empathetic he was because he was technically, well, not, I won't say like the youngest in maturity since Nagaheim is technically a teenager, but you know, elf shit, whatever. But just that despite all of like the pretty like rough spots we put him through, and I'm thinking of my character in particular, how fucking mean she was to Colt at times. But that like despite all of that, he just stayed like so like empathetic to everyone, not just player characters, but NPCs as well. Like despite the little broody moments, like that's like what I really adored of Colt. And I mean, we've talked about this privately, but like, you know, had there been like no Quinn or Catalina and Colt had worked at his crush on Viria, like he might have gotten somewhere, you know?
He would have had to put in some work effort, but the reward might have come. We will never know.
Exactly.
That's what alternate universe is for.
There you go. For Rose, just I mean, this is gonna be like extra like very, 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 very obvious, but just like how bright she was, especially in a party with Nagheim and Viria, who were kind of like the Eeyores of the gang. Just
Working
yeah,
overtime.
yeah, just Rose's pure like joie de vivre for the Frenchies out there. You know, she went through some like pretty fucking like dark shit, but despite all of that, she just stayed very nice and lovely and generous, and I really, really loved that. And as for Nagaheim, the one thing that I will always, 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 always like think about as like the moment I got to really like understand Nagaheim's character is when they caught Viria doing magic for the first time, which she hadn't planned for. And when, you know, they kind of like had that discussion where she was like, oh, like, are you going to tell the others? And they just went like, no, it's not my secret to tell. Like, I think that defined Nagaheim as not only like a worshiper of Shar, who's the god of secrets and blah, 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 but also just like the type of trustworthy person they are despite, you know, all of the depression and darkness surrounding them. So, there you go.
Okay. Fred putting my brother in timeout on Twitch.
Oh.
It's so fucking funny.
Well, fuck me, I guess.
No, thank you.
That was so lovely. Come
It
on
really
now.
was. I'm sorry, I had to cackle. I just looked. For Nagheim and Viria, it honestly was for Nagheim being like, it is your secret to tell, and then watching how almost immediately, Viria went from having so many walls to Nagheim just being able to stand beside her and not feeling worried about being pushed away, shoved, feeling safe, because it felt almost like there was that immediate change. With Cult, for being such a smart character, the way you consistently stayed so dumb to so many things, it was so endearing the entire time of Nagheim being like, yeah, this fact, right Cult, and Cult being like, huh?
Oh.
Oh. Like, it was so endearing and so cute. And I just loved it where Nightcap was like, yes, you are one of my smart, like, you are my smart friend. But, like, God, you're so stupid. It was great.
Socially awkward. No.
And that, I loved how even though Rose was the bundle of sunlight, when Rose decided to take her anger out on Nagheim, and I loved that it showed there's more than just, oh, I'm happy all the time. It showed that, like, you can't always hide it, and I did enjoy that a lot. And with Jason, I do feel very spoiled, like having other game masters and everything, and having, I'm trying not to read chat because that's just friend bullying my brother more. But yeah, I just feel very spoiled with having such a delightful game master. Yeah, and a great story.
I did not touch upon
too.
that because I was like, Chuck pretty much like
Yeah, summed it up.
covered that, yeah.
beautifully.
But same. I think we're all on the same page.
We love you.
Okay, Fred, stop the bullying and tell us.
To be fair, I am in or out of character. I am standing in solidarity, Xander or Nagheim. Anyway, I'm gonna approach this question differently and just explore little tidbits of moment that brought me joy in your characters. A moment that brought me a lot of joy with Viri is every single time that our characters shared a room, but especially the one time that I built you a pillow fort, and you just rolled with it with Viri. You know what? Yeah, I trust Rose to do that. It makes no sense, but I trust her to do that to me. And it was so much fun, and I like that. One of my favorite moments with Nagaheim was fighting with Nagaheim whenever we argued, because it was so human and it was real. I really like that. There was something so poetic about that, and I really like that because the emotion really came through whenever we argued together. So that was like because we don't fight in real life, and to be honest, it's not really how you argue,
Yes.
knowing you in real life. So this was a really, really fun way to like explore something with you because like we love each other, so we don't really argue with each other in real life. So it's really fun to fight with you.
I mean, after every argument, we'd message each other. You're like,
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you.
Yeah, we would all do that whenever characters fought.
Never mind when they fight. You guys, this is for everybody in the chat room. After every single session, it's a race between all these people to see who is the first to say I love you after a session closes. It's ridiculous. Lovely,
To the point where we
but
kind of
ridiculous.
get like fucking angry about it. Fuck you.
I love you.
You got
Shit,
shit
I'm a
first.
second.
Yeah.
Fuck you, you son of a bitch, cocksucker motherfucker. You know, yeah, it's
And
great.
for Chuck, my favorite thing is you were always so down with my stupid. Like if I was doing something stupid, Cole was right there with me. Let's go. Let's do it. And I was like, there's so many instances of that, and that was my favorite. I liked it.
No, there's so much stupid that we did together. It's immeasurable how much dumb we got up to, and I loved every moment of it.
So like yeah, so with Viri, I got like the wholesome. With Nagaheim, I got the human, and then with Cult, I got the stupid, and it was yeah.
Well, I'll never forget the boar. I'm just
The boar.
It's like we
That's
had our fair
wholesome.
share of stupid, all of us. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, War Master Smooth is using their highlight my message.
IW.
I don't think we have any more questions. Is there anything else we want to touch on before we wrap tonight up?
Future plans, maybe?
Future plans? We can
How
tell
about
people.
the epilogue.
Oh,
Oh, we're
Do we have
missing.
one-
Did we,
do we have
have
one
another?
epilogue left?
Who didn't we do?
Xander.
Oh.
Yes.
And you mentioned fun facts as well.
Oh,
Oh,
let's do that real
yes.
quick. That's an easy one. So this is crazy. Just from my end, it's crazy. So I quickly went through and tried to find as many as I could. There were 112 NPCs / voices throughout the campaign. Not including the what's the word for it? Jeez. Not including the
Narrated?
no, the opposite of narrating, coming up with things on the spot.
Oh, improvised.
Thank you.
Improvising.
My brain went through every I word except for improvise. Not including
Improvise,
the
the word
improvisation,
improvise.
not including your character dialogues and all that kind of stuff, but just what's on the written page. Our whole campaign could fill 2 sizable novels.
Oh, I don't doubt
So
that.
I say this not as like a pat on the back, but as a message to everybody watching this. If anyone out there has ever thought to themselves, I would love to write a book someday. I would love to write a story. I would love to do this, that, and the other. But I can't do this because of this reason, that reason. I'm not good enough. I don't know this. I don't know that structure, blah, 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 blah. This didn't feel like it was a job. This felt like fun. And writing a book is something I've always wanted to do. In 2 years, I've written 2, essentially. So you can do it. You just have to have the right frame of mind or the right space to kind of do it. And thanks to these guys, I got that space. So that is a huge bucket list off my list. That said, the final epilogue. Nagheim, who do you think the black cloaked figure is? Or has been this entire time? Someone who walks between time.
I was
Now-
going to mention that, but I was like, that's too on the nose.
Since day one, Nagheim, who had elevated to some place between god and demigod, lost all sense of self and became this figure who can wander through time but never able to affect it. There you go.
That's some Misfits
That's
level shit, dude.
cool.
Oh.
Do you know the thing? That works in so well
Yeah.
because with Nagheim being so secluded and trying to master time fully for whatever reason, one day Viria would just come back to no tower.
hmm I don't want to get into the
Doesn't match the
details because it
creative.
is very sad. It is
Yeah.
very tragic. It is very evil how one becomes a god. But it does happen, probably for the best of intentions. But things go awry. And they don't become a god as they intended. They become something other. Since day one, I knew that was going to be the plan.
That is some fucking galaxy brain shit.
So yeah,
Like,
the black
Nagheim
cloaked
has-
figure is just constantly watching their friends, curious as to why they're so intriguing. And they don't know.
God,
Oh, that's a story I want to read.
Not canon.
Nagheim has literally every story that can happen to Nagheim
hmm
is so fucking depressing.
Yep. And I'll say this, like, as we were talking and as you were describing things about Nagheim and what you envision, it made me feel better, because I don't know if I was going to spill the beans on that, because I didn't want to negatively impact your character, even if it's outside of what's canon. But when you were talking about it, I'm like, this feels like permission almost to kind of let it out there.
mean,
So
like, Nagheim would never find love, would never let themselves.
Mm.
Nagheim would either go so depressed that they go evil, or they just become a recluse. Like,
and trust issues with like people who do know secrets that they don't, and da 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 da.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it does happen. When and where? Probably not for ages, but it is something I thought of. Yeah.
Wow.
Damn, I need to not play such a depressing character next time. Holy shit.
Oh man. Well, we'll see
Well-
what we all come up with in a soon to happen campaign. Chuck, you want to talk about something?
Oh god! Oh god! Okay. You're gonna find my style of DMing different. There's probably gonna be a lot more umming and ahhing. I tend to improvise a lot more. I don't prepare as much in the future because I do really like to improvise. We're gonna do a mini series, and we're going to hopefully just nail down some details on who's playing. Fred's going to be doing some schooling, so she's going to take a little extra time for herself to do that. So we're not going to have Fred for the mini-series. We're planning on making it from when we start, which is, what is it today? What's the date today?
We're midway
January
January.
14th.
Is the
Yeah.
14th. I'm going to give myself a beginning of February to get everything sorted out on my end. That gives me about 2 weeks. Because next week we have to do kind of like a session 0, talk to everybody as a group, as individuals. It's not going to be as serious, but there's going to be serious moments. But that'll be going February to probably April sometime. We'll see. Again, I kind of make it up on the fly, so I like to throw a bunch of shit in. If it extends, it extends. If it's shorter, it's shorter. And then we'll take a little break. And after that, we will return to our most glorious DM and whatever he has in store. But this is time for Jason to give his brain a big old break.
Oh,
Yep.
God, yes.
He deserves it.
Yes, he deserves this.
He
after
needs it.
2 years. Needs it. Needs it. Yeah, I'm climbing back in the DM city because I got burnt the fuck out after 3 years. So, breaks are good, people. Take breaks. Get some other sap to fucking DM for you.
Yeah, DMing is so much fucking work and investment.
So much work, and it's so underappreciated.
Yeah.
Here's one thing. Personally, it hasn't been underappreciated by you guys, so thank you very much for that.
I'm always worried we're underappreciating as much as we're complimenting you and telling you all the time, where we're like, are we doing enough?
Like, you guys know this, and I think most of the people who show up in chat all the time know this. I am not good with compliments. It just makes me feel weird. But the biggest compliment is seeing you guys react truthfully in the game, and I never want for that because it always happens. So that's the biggest compliment. But I will say that DMing can be very challenging, very work heavy if you let it be, which is something I am going to be chopping back on whenever I do jump back into the seat. So there are things like that will be trimmed out, like no more intros every week because Jesus, I am not a poet. I don't want to do that.
it's you stuck with it though. I would have
Yeah.
abandoned that immediately. I was like,
I would
I
have
don't want
stopped
to do
after
this.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of it is my own doing. I just tried to make things bigger and like bolder kind of thing. And then I found easier ways to do those things, which was good. But even things like the music, like almost everywhere we went in the campaign, I would pick out a specific playlist. And I think going forward, I found a new website where it's just like soundscapes with generic music. So little things like that, you know, throw that in instead of an entire score for like hours of music, you know. Yeah, so it'll give me time to kind of like look at like how I DM and give myself a break on the brain. One of which is that we will probably stream only 3 times a month and have a week off, just to give ourselves like myself a little bit of brain room. But yeah, other than that, I have no idea what the next campaign is going to be like.
I think it's also like gonna be a lovely like learning opportunity for you to see like someone else DM long term, and then maybe take some things away from Chuck's style. I think it's always good for anyone to learn.
I mostly am excited about Chuck's game because I just want to be like the cheerleader for Chuck. That's what I'm excited about the most.
Right.
So
The
much
last time I
meaner than you
DM'd,
think.
honestly, the last time I DM'd was after playing in some fantastic DM's games, including you, Jason. And like it helped tremendously influence my style of DMing. So like I think everyone that's the sad part about like the forever DMs. It's like please let them play. Because like not just for like the fun of playing, but also just like to kind of like experience different styles of DMing. Because like once you get comfortable in your own style, you kind of like forget that there's other ways of playing this game.
Mm-hmm.
And you can play like a DM. Like I know I've made suggestions to you throughout the game when you've seemed a little stuck on something. You're like, oh, I don't know about this mechanic. I'm like, you should try this. And it's like, you're totally welcome to do that. I mean, I'm going to be calling on the rules lawyers over here. I'd be like, hey, you bitch, look that shit up for me right now. I don't know how magic works. I've never played a magic user.
I swear to God, I was the bane of like Xander and Ari's existence with well, even you too, Chuck, sometimes, where it's like, okay, that spell that you've used 15 times throughout the campaign, can you throw up the rules one more time? Because I don't remember anything.
that has become a long-term accepted way of doing things with us.
Yeah.
Yes, throw up the spell that you've used the whole campaign, please, because only a massive big brain can really remember all that shit, and I'm terrible at multitasking. So
there's that, and just like honestly, as a player, as your character levels up, you know, we were all level 15. Like, there's so much shit going on your character sheet that it's normal to forget some detail of like what a spell does, or like how a feature works. Like it's just there's a lot going on. So
not only that,
people,
but we
awesome.
play with like D&D Beyond. We have the ability to like so easily share what does a spell do, what are the mechanics, what is this, what is that, like whereas like if we were playing around the table, we all had to like look through the books. That might be a little bit more challenging to do that every single time, but like we're so lucky that we get to play online on a virtual tabletop where it's so easy.
Yeah, I'm like,
when
this
those
is the
situations
first
happen.
time. The first time I'll be DMing digitally. I've only done it in person, pen and paper style.
Yeah.
So
speaking of, that's another thing.
I'm gonna be using one of our Sundays to just hang out with you, Jason, and talk to you about. I think I will want to run it from home.
Yeah.
Just because then I can have everything.
Oh no, we tackled that before. Yeah, that's cool.
Okay. Yeah. You're gonna put me through a crash course on how to use all these programs.
No worries. Speaking of though, that is something at least I can boast about the second campaign. I think we're gonna be ditching Roll20 because D&D Beyond has their own version of Roll20, and it's super cool because it takes out one little factor, which is creating tokens for battles. I no longer have to find images and crop them. They're all in there, and I have all the like unlocks for all these maps and everything like that. So that'll be interesting to see. So I think from what I've noticed,
make things a little less complicated.
Yeah, it's all in one kind of sphere there. So that'll be nice.
Roll20 is a good source if that's the way you want to go. It's very varied, very varied.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we can just move it all into one, that's going to be amazing.
Have it all integrated on one website as opposed to two. Yeah, it's just, I'm excited to see how that all plays out. But with that, I think we got to go because I know some people got to get up for school.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. I feel
Yeah,
bad saying
Nora
goodbye
had
without.
one last question for Xander, but we can always like answer that on the side. in
Yeah, for
Discord,
sure.
if
Yeah, we
anything.
can. We'll take it on Discord. This one.
Absolutely. There we go.
I just ran to the back door
They're
and
back.
opened it and threw the dog out. So,
Like you do. Not you,
Yeah.
Poe. You're amazing. All right.
would-
Well, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us and joining us for this Q&A. Oh, what a wonderful way to kind of end the campaign. It's just a high point, just talking to everybody. And thank you, everybody, for being so amazing in the chat room. Every time we look over during our sessions, it's just nice to see people so engrossed in the story and asking questions. And it's just a delight having you guys here each and every week. So, look
Might
for...
I not always in chat? I have like real life friends who have come up to me and or Xander and have like gone, "Hey, I started watching your campaign on YouTube, and like it's great.
You have
You guys are
friends?
great."
What's that like?
I know, right? It's weird.
So,
Right?
will
I
people
mean, I
in
got you
chat
guys,
and
but you don't count. You're all
lurkers-
virtual.
Yeah. So no, but I've had like actual like in person like comments about how we're enjoyable to watch, which like yeah, it's
Thank you for
great
that.
to
I mean,
hear. Yeah.
I mean, look at us.
Look at me.
I mean, we are a very sexy bunch.
Damn right.
Oh,
So yeah, sorry, I didn't want to cut you off there, but
One last question. Xander, how does it feel knowing that
This is Nagheim's future voice.
It's weird. It's weird. Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
man.
it's better than some behind squeaky. It's like I'm a god now.
it's so weird that their webcam went out of focus.
How's that? Whatever.
All right. Well, thank you everybody so much. Keep looking at our socials to find out when we're going to be launching the mini campaign
And
And
or
yeah.
Discord.
and our
So
Discord.
have a
Sorry.
link in.
You
Yeah.
bet. You bet. And with that,
Save
Bye.
sex or here.